These are paying customers, so you'll have to order more than water. If you're broke, go somewhere else.
50 dumplings. Is it a deal?
Huh?
You feed me, and I'll take care of those guys for you.
I'm almost afraid to let go, but this is the only way I'll ever know. So I'm gonna take one more chance on
This your boy Rez Joe. This your friendly neighborhood flat earther. Flat earther. Yeah, flat earther. But yes, we're gonna get into a very interesting video, and I don't think it's even about flat Earth, but for some reason it turned into a flat Earth discussion. But I think it was a very more important discussion. At least that's what the brother was trying to get into, but it seems like a certain guy didn't want to get into it. This is definitely between Brother Sanchz and Will Duffy. Shout outs to Flat Zoe. He actually covered this first. I was planning on covering it, but I felt that it was better for someone that's a little bit more of an expert into the discussion. At least a little bit higher than me when we're talking about this kind of stuff. But I think like I could pretty much, talk about this as well and pretty much react to it. So yeah, this is pretty much a live reaction. And I just want to get some comments on the thing and see if pretty much you come to the same conclusion as me. Yeah, and of course, come to the same conclusion as Flatzoid. But this is between Brother Sanchz and Will Duffy. And for some reason, Will Duffy didn't want to basically interact with Brother Sanchz. It was kind of weird, So, we're gonna go into it. Just give me a second. Let's go ahead and pull it up. Brother Sanchz and Will Duffy. Then it should be right here. Yep. So here it is. And I think what Brother Sanchz said at the beginning of the video, I think Will Duffy probably did have his moment. He's calling it the Billy Carson moment. If those was not into the YouTube world, Billy Carson was a guy that was pushing a religion, and he had a lot to say. He was claiming to be like an archaeologist, and he said that he knew he know all of the scriptures in the Bible, and he know a lot of things. He made a lot of claims, and I think Will Duffy pretty much exposed him in a debate, and then instead of Billy Carson responding to the debate, Billy Carson wanted to sue Will Duffy. I don't know, I don't know why. But yeah, so Brother Sanchz is basically saying, did he just do to Will Duffy what Wes Huff did to Billy Carson? I think I said his name wrong earlier. I think I did say his name wrong. Yeah, his name was Wes Huff, I believe. Should we look that up? Yes. No, I know it's Wes Huff. Yes. So Wes Huff basically, I guess, got in a debate with Billy Carson, and he debunked them live, and Billy Carson tried to get the video taken off of YouTube. And then when they put it on YouTube, and I believe it was a mistake, but when it got out on YouTube, Billy Carson decided that he wanted to sue Wes Huff, even though Wes Huff didn't put the video out. And I think Wes Huff put it out later though, so I think that's probably why he in the lawsuit. But I think his friend put it out. But his friend basically, it's kind of weird because I'm hearing so many stories about it that his friend really actually didn't want to put it out, but he did put out a clip, and that's the clip that everybody's seen. And I think that was just one of the more devastating moment. But I watched the whole debate. Pretty much the whole debate was pretty much, the same. So, but I think this debate is very similar to that, because, well, we just gonna go into it. We're not gonna explain the whole thing. Just gonna go into that a little bit. So let's check this out, right? And we're gonna get right into it. I like to key the music, man. I'm sorry, y'all, but I do like to listen to music as I do these things. So let's just get into the music. Let's play some jams and get into it. I'm not gonna make it too loud, but let's get into it, man. Bro Sanchz versus Will Duffy.
By now that we all are familiar with this pastor.
Neither lying nor deception are inherently immoral.
A day ago,
So this is what they supposed to be debating about, right? Supposedly. So they supposed to be debating about whether or not lying and deception is basically inherently wrong. Now, your boy has something very peculiar about that. I mean, he has some weird way to explain it to me. I think it was kind of weird the way he did explain it. Didn't pretty much cover the point. He was just basically saying like, oh, well, yeah, if you put in a situation, it's okay for you to lie. So the lying is not wrong. So I think Brother Sanchz did a pretty good job. He was pretty fair about the conversation too. But we're going to go into it. Let's get into it right now, actually. Let's see.
I was doing a live stream and the topic was, is lying and deception inherently immoral? And I was ripping apart Pastor Duffy's stance on the topic. At some point in the stream, guess who decided to join me? Yours truly, Pastor Duffy. I think you guys are gonna love this stream. Bro Sanchz debates Pastor Will Duffy. Did Pastor Duffy have his Billy Carson moment? Did I just give Pastor Duffy his Billy Carson moment?
Okay. Yeah, so Brother Sanchz seems to be very proud of this debate. Bro Sanchz has been on a debate spree. He debated Craig, and now he's debating Will Duffy. And I believe he debated Jaren too, and a certain someone got his channels hooking off, flagged or something. So basically, I guess Bro Sanchz has been on a little debate spree or something. He's been debating everybody. He's like the Black Flatzoid or something. I don't know, or the Witsit or whatever. But I do think that he did kind of give Will Duffy his Billy Carson moment, actually. But let's get into it. But remember, the debate is about whether or not lying is inherently wrong. Is lying being deceitful, misleading people, manipulating people, running scams, things of that nature? Is that wrong? I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. Will Duffy said it's not. So, I mean, we seen it in the scriptures. He was using the Bible to say, oh, well, no, it's not. It's not in the scriptures. It says, running scams and manipulating people and being deceitful isn't wrong. It's inherently, if it's not inherently wrong, that means that is inherently correct and right. So Yeah, we trying to see what Will Duffy have to say about this. Let's go.
Because Pastor Duffy didn't mention this debate. Just like Billy Carson didn't mention his debate with Wes Huff. And it took days later for the video to come out. Same thing happening here. Make this go viral. Let me know in the comment section. Did I give Pastor Duff his Billy Carson moment? We have Pastor Will Duffy on the call. So that'll be better than anybody else. Hold on a second, guys. Let's get him set up. Pastor Will Duffy, welcome to the call. Whenever you get your mic ready.
I'm here.
We can. Okay. So I take it that you've already been listening in. So today's show is basically a theological conversation. I'm from the Bible Belt. And first of all, let me just give you a rundown of why this conversation is important for me. A lot of people will say we need to question the final experiment because you are a pastor who condones lying and this. Maybe I shouldn't say condone. I'll say you teaches that lying and deception is not inherently immoral.
Yeah, so he's going right into this the final experiment of him being the pastor. So yeah, it's getting interesting. I wouldn't have used the final experiment to be a part of this. I would have just basically said based upon your sermon, it seems to be that you're saying that being deceitful is okay. Basically lying to people is okay. So we're trying to get you to either clear this up or back this claim. Basically, in the Bible, is it inherently wrong to lie or not? Not in between or none of that, because that's not an in between type of question. So let's get into that.
Moral.
That's how
now
I
that makes a red flag go up in a lot of people's head, and they want to scrutinize your works even more for that statement. And I think that you should be understanding as a pastor who's questioning the norm, which you know you're doing, because there ain't nothing wrong with that to say, hey, we've been taught wrong for a while and I want to be the pastor to correct this nonsense. But however, I don't think you're correcting the Bible or correcting a false teaching. I think that you're undermining a law that God wants us to follow. Me personally, nothing against you. But that right there makes you look like a deceiver, an antichrist, and a false prophet. And these are all the words I use to refer to you as of now, because I'm under the opinion that you are indeed what the Bible speak of in that nature, because lying and deception is something that a lot of men that I grew up with, Pastor Duffy, tried hard to overcome. I saw families break up because the husband, doing immoral actions and being deceptive. And these families were saved.
Now, Brother Sanchez shouldn't be monologuing this long. He should just basically be asking them this question. I don't agree with this, because it's kind of like, okay, you monologuing too long, right? And it seems like Brother Sanchez is, but this is not so much of a debate like that. This is more of a discussion. And then pretty much whenever you're talking to a pastor, you are going to basically ask some questions like this. I go to church, so I know how people talk, to pastors. Pastors pretty much have to sit through that and be like, oh, well, I don't agree with this because woe is me, and my life is this, and my life is that, my life is this. So as a pastor, Will Duffy should pretty much be, used to people going on and on monologuing, especially talking about a topic as important as this.
When the Spirit of God gave these men the ability to overcome lying and deception. So if those same men were to hear you say where lying and deception is not immoral.
I never said that.
Lying and deception are not inherently immoral. You mind if I replay the clip with you here today? We can play it with you together.
That's fine.
Let's play the clip.
We finally get to my conclusion on the matter of lying and deception, and that is this. After carefully looking at both sides of the debate, and after taking a very deep dive into everything I could possibly find in Scripture regarding lying and deception, I have come to the conclusion that neither lying nor deception are.
What is you doing? So, why? Okay, you in the church, right? Why do you got the Final Experiment logo in your freaking church, bro? Because what message is you giving to your church? You basically dividing the church up, right? Because what if the people in your church actually do believe in a flat earth? And what do and then what if the people, those same people decide that, well, I'm no longer going to come to this church anymore because this guy is basically attacking something that I know to be true or I believe to be true. There's a lot of flat earth believers out there instead of people that know that the earth is flat. Right? So why be deceptive in your church? Why are you trying to divide the church? You're basically saying, well, I'm here to get rid of the kill the flat earth belief. And okay, everybody in the audience going to be like, well, at least the flat earthers in the audience. It's going to go, what do that have to do with my salvation? You know, I never heard anything about God basically say, well, you have to know whether or not the earth is flat or whether or not the earth is a globe in order for you to be saved. Basically, God said that Jesus is the way, right? And he's the only way for salvation, right? Ain't that what you supposed to be preaching? Why is you spending $500,000 going to some trip to basically try to debunk something that you claim to been debunked 200, 300, or 2,000 years ago? Why are you wasting time doing this when you could be spending this money on something else? And where did you get this money anyway? You get this money from the church? And then basically, it's not like these people is going to sit up here and look at your little observation and say, oh, well, yeah, I'm no longer a flat earther now. They're just going to figure out a way, or they're going to argue with you and tell you that, hey, well, we still know that the earth is flat because of this, and this. And what are you going to do? You're going to say, oh, well, I did this trip, therefore the earth is not flat. Great. You right back in the same place where you was at. So it becomes actually a pastor, somebody that's supposed to be a pastor, trolling other Christians about them believing or claiming that they know that the earth is flat. What do that have to do with salvation? It seems like you're promoting the religion of a globe first. You're promoting what men think. Even if you want to say it's science, you're promoting what men says about the earth more than you promoting Christianity. You putting what men say about the physical creation over salvation. Don't it say in the scriptures that you're not supposed to put men and physical things before God? Don't in the Bible it says that you're not supposed to be of a carnal mind? You're supposed to be a mind that is pure and holy of the spirit? As a pastor, you should know these things. Maybe that's why other pastors is not worried about flat earth arguments. They out there debating atheists. They out there debating satanic worshipers. They out there preaching the gospel. That's what they spending their money on. I mean, even T.D. Jakes, a prosperity preacher. At least he's actually preaching the gospel where he's going. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about the man, but I never heard T.D. Jakes sit up here and start attacking people over random topics and trying to split up the church. If it were flat earthers in T.D. Jakes' church right now, if half of the church in T.D. Jakes was flat earthers, the last thing T.D. Jakes will be talking about in this church is the flat earth. He would keep it strictly to the scriptures and just basically preach the gospel. Jesus is the only way of salvation. Right? as a pastor should do. So I think that pretty much him focusing on this, it seemed like you're trying to be more of a globe debunking YouTuber and make money on YouTube than being a actual pastor. Now it says in the Bible, and it's very clear, you cannot serve two masters. So you can't be a pastor, a man of God, and be a carnal-minded guy on YouTube trolling other Christians because they believe a certain cosmology, or they believe that the earth doesn't have some type of shape that you believe the earth had to have. Will Duffy, you should be a pastor, not a troll. There's no way you should be sitting up there with Mattoon, sitting up here giggling and laughing at other Christians, calling them stupid because they believe that the earth is flat. What you should be doing is preaching the gospel to Mattoon, along with the other flat earthers in your church, and telling them that Jesus is the only way of salvation. He's the only way for you to have the Holy Spirit. Anything other than that, you're facing eternal damnation. Jesus died on the cross for your sins. That's what you should be doing. That should be the number one priority. I have not yet to see Will Duffy say anything about the creation, say anything about Jesus at all. Matter of fact, we could look at this conversation. Let's see how many times is Will Duffy going to bring up Jesus and salvation, and let's see how many times that Brother Sanchz, who's not a pastor, gonna bring it up. Let's count.
Inherently immoral.
So I had you right. That's what I said. You said.
Even in this sermon right here, is he preaching Jesus? Is he preaching the gospel? Or is he talking about something of a carnal mind? Or is he talking about worldly things, such as lying? It's not the gospel.
That you said.
The first time you left out the word inherently. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Is killing someone inherently wrong?
Let me just make sure I have the word inherently right. The word inherently just means something's inherited naturally or in an innate manner. You know, it's something that's basically naturally inside of us. Am I getting you right on that?
Yeah, the word inherently means innately. It would mean it is always wrong, that there are no exceptions.
That's not what. No, it don't mean always wrong. Now there you go. You put something in there. Now I'm looking at the definition. I'll put it up on the screen, Pastor.
Yeah, it seems like this is what you have to do to all these Globers nowadays. You shouldn't have to, but it seems like this is what you have to do with all these Globers. And it, like, even when you read definitions to these guys just sit up there and just deny they deny what the definitions say. They still just make up something. They go, oh, well, you see, it says this. Like they cherry pick one point out the definition and say, see, you do say that. See, no, it don't. It's actually saying, read the whole thing. Sorry. So it inherently, the adverb inherently means in a natural or innate manner. Some people enjoy your inherently cheerful nature, but it drives other people crazy because they find you annoyingly perky. Inherently is the adverbially form of the adjective inherent. Then it goes into in a permanent, essential, or characteristic way. So that's just basically the two definitions of it. And this is what you got to do with these guys nowadays.
The adverb inherently means in a natural or innate manner. That's it. Is it?
Yep.
Is it something that's naturally in us? That's what,
No.
and hold up, Pastor. The word inherently is related to the word inherited. If I inherit something, it's naturally in me. Now you see why the word is called inherently?
Do you care what?
Yes, that's literally what the word means. That's literally where the word came from. It came from inherent. I mean, it's naturally in you. Just like genetics. If you have if your genetics has something that is naturally in you, if you naturally have the same sickness as your like a family member, maybe your mother, your father, your grandmother, you inherit those genetics from your family member. Even if you want to say it's permanent and things of that nature, no, it's just natural. Is that really the whole nature? The whole permanent thing is just something. It's just it's somewhat of a characteristics of the natural thing that's basically you inherit from someone else. So inherit, you must have that you must get that from someone else. Maybe, like I said, an ancestor, a family member, something of that nature. It's just something that you naturally have. You can have abilities or potential. You naturally have the ability to play good, to be a good basketball player. It came from your genetics. You inherit that from your father or your grandfather. Right? You inherit height. You maybe all your brothers and sisters is tall because your mother and your father is tall. It's an inherent. It's natural. It's not synthetic. It's not like, oh, well, somebody put you in the lab and made you tall. So for him to basically say no, you just talking nonsense, and he putting the damn definition in your face. Ain't no. Yes, that's exactly what the word mean.
What I meant when I said it.
I gotta go by what the word mean, but since you're here to explain yourself, I am a fair man, and I will let you. Yeah, you go ahead. Thank you.
It's only flat earthers that are confused. Everybody else gets
Well,
it.
Can you do me?
Now, why is he throwing flat earthers in this? Again, he's talking like a glober instead of talking like a pastor. Why is you still trolling flat earthers when you having a discussion about the Bible? You as a pastor having a discussion with another Christian about the scriptures. Something that if you think that this Christian is incorrect, you should be correcting them with love and care. You should be treating your Christian brother that Jesus treated his disciples. Not trolling, not saying only flat earthers, where you basically saying that they're dumb, not understanding. That's trolling. And it's an ad hominem attack. It's a fallacy. You basically trying to poison the well before you talk. Retarded. But that comes from talking to worldly people like Mattoon. So you no longer really honestly a pastor. If anybody in your church looking at you, they should be looking at you like, yeah, this guy's not a pastor. The way that he's dealing with these flat earthers is not Christian-like at all. He's a hypocrite.
A favor real quick. Can you not address me as a flat earther? I'm a Christian before anything. So I'm coming to you now as a Christian brother who was challenging and trying to prove all things. And I don't get what you're saying, Pastor. I want your tutelage, not your bad energy. You're a pastor. Okay. So go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so it's very simple.
And I'm sorry. If I think Flatzoid was kind of disagreeing with some of these points. But I totally agree with all of these points. Yeah, he's a pastor. He's not supposed to be trolling flat earthers in the first place. And then you talking to another Christian brother. You shouldn't be talking to me as if I'm a flat earther or a flat earther. Shouldn't be talking to me in that manner with any disrespect when we only talking about the scriptures. It's ridiculous. So right now you're demonstrating to everybody, the whole world, that you are no longer a pastor. Because right now you're not coming to this man as a pastor of a man of God. You coming to this man as a flat earth debunker. So it seems like, are you trying to promote your church and you trying to promote salvation? Or are you promoting your Flat Earth Debunk YouTube channel? Because that's what it seems like that's what you're doing. And that's what you're taking priority to do. Your priority is your Flat Earth YouTube channel and your final experiment. Not preaching the gospel and salvation. Because it don't look cool on YouTube no more. See, all the atheists on YouTube. It's a big movement of atheists on the YouTube, and all the evolutionists, the evil tards, all those guys is on YouTube, and they don't like Christianity and they don't like pastors. So it's not going to be good for your YouTube career to keep talking about Jesus all day, right? So you're going to let your YouTube channel and your little final experiment take precedent over preaching salvation. All facts. Let's get into it, man.
Okay. Lying and deception are not always wrong. End of story.
I know that, but that doesn't.
That's all
okay.
I meant when I said it, and I actually did 4 sermons on it. I doubt you've listened to even one of them. If you did, you would know.
Here we go again. Evidently, he listened to that one. You don't got to listen to every one of them. He listened to that one. And then you saying, I doubt you did this. I doubt you did that. You don't know what he did. You're just appealing to a motivation for absolutely no reason because the guy's giving you a chance to clear it up. See, this is the same thing that it seemed like. What, him, Whitsitt, Mattoon, and Jaren, did they all basically just been talking and it just came out say, hey, we're going to basically attack all the flat earthers in the same manner? Because they all saying the same thing. They all jumping to conclusions. They all being very disrespectful in a discussion. And they all poisoning the well and using their hominem attacks. Fallacies. I mean, the whole final experiment is already affirming the consequence fallacy in the first place. I mean, we don't even got to go into that. Because right now, we're not even having that discussion. We're having a more important discussion than flat earth. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what Flatzoy say. I don't care what nobody say. Nathan Oakley say. I don't care what QE say. This discussion right here is way more important than flat earth. Period. It's flat earth, whether or not the earth is flat and whether or not the earth is a globe is inconsequential to me either way. But one thing I know that is important, at least to me, is my salvation. And when I see a pastor acting like a freaking idiot and he's basically choosing worldly things over spiritual things, over our salvation, and he have a church with people that is following him, that's very dangerous, bro. You care more about being a troll. You a pastor. You have a responsibility. You got people following you. And you care more about being a troll to other Christians. Let's just be real. A lot of flat earthers are Christians. Let's just be real. All of them ain't Whitsitt. All of them ain't Jaren. Most of them are Christians. So you want to troll at least probably like, even if it's only 1% of the church, you want to troll 1% of the church, pick the majority to basically troll them and basically kick them or belittle them and risk their salvation. The Messiah loved everybody. He grafted everybody in. That's why he died for everybody's sins. Remember, Yahweh could have been. Remember, Yahweh chosen the Jews first. He could have just kept it to. He should have just kept his salvation with the Jews. We was grafted in with the Messiah. Or the Hebrews. We could have still all been up under the law. If you wanted to just be worldly and be carnal minded, we could have all just been up under the law. Yahweh could have been just breathing down our necks. Every time we did something, oh, you know what? Hurricane. whatever. But he gave us a chance of salvation with grace. And here it is. This pastor don't want to even talk about it. He don't even want to have a discussion. He want to keep trying to put it to worldly things like the creation. The creation is less than God. God is beyond the physical and natural world. So why is you going to put someone that is beyond the physical and natural world, the one that basically can give you the salvation and the eternal life, why would you want to set that aside and teach and preach to the people about the globe? Something that scientists don't, something that so-called scientists don't know nothing about. A mathematical model with no direct or deductive reasoning to back it, only affirming the consequence fallacies and computer screens and basically math concepts. There's more proof of a creator than it is of the globe. Facts. But yet the pastor don't want to talk about it. He too busy worried about his YouTube channel, as we about to see right now.
Quickly, that's exactly what I meant.
Okay, I know what you meant, but I'm debating what you said. Now listen, and I'm being fair. I said Pastor Duffy should have worded this differently because this doesn't come off the right way. I actually gave you that benefit.
Now here it is. As a Christian brother, he actually gave Pastor Will Duffy the grace of saying, hey, maybe he could have worded it differently. Maybe he could have said it differently. Maybe that's not what he meant. But let Will Duffy say that, because honestly, Will Duffy is not giving Brother Sanchz the grace. But who seems more like the pastor here, Brother Sanchz or Will Duffy? Because Will Duffy is only bringing up carnal. He's only bringing up physical nature. He's not bringing up anything godly or holy. And also, he's insulting the man, calling a whole group of Christians retarded pretty much, because he's saying, oh, only flat earthers don't understand this. And he's keep trying to talk about the flat earth. So you only came to this conversation not to talk about the scriptures, not to preach the gospel. You came here to troll about the flat earth. But you a pastor. Shouldn't you be jumping to any conversations about? I guarantee you, if Brother Sanchz was to say, "Hey, come to my show and let's talk about Bible contradictions, and let's debunk all the myths about the Bible being contradicted," I guarantee you, Will Duffy wouldn't even show up. Matter of fact, here's a true fact. I know Will Duffy listened to all Flatzoid stuff. He listened to all Brother Sanchz stuff. He listened to all Nathan Oakley stuff. He listened to all Level stuff. He never came on Flatzoid's channel yesterday when Flatzoid called him out on the flat earth thing. But it's funny, Flatzoid called him out on the Bible, him and Mattoon, and he never showed up. He didn't come there and say, hey, you got me wrong about these scriptures. Let me preach the gospel to you and let me let you know what's going on. He didn't want to come to Flatzoid as a pastor. He wanted to come to him as a globe or a flat earth debunker. That's a troll. That's a grift on YouTube. Sad world we living in, where pastors is acting like degenerate morons, and they think it's cool, and they spending $500,000 to be moronic. Think about it. A pastor, not a scientist, a pastor decided to take a trip, right? Without preparing really for the trip. I mean, they said that Will Duffy was using his iPhone in order to do a live stream. They wasn't prepared at all. They got people vaping. They got people saying that it's fake because the whole expedition was so terrible. To go out there honestly for nothing, because he heard some flat earthers say this about Antarctica. But he ain't go and say, like, you know what? I'm going to go do the cheaper thing because I don't want to spend all of my money on this thing. But I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, and this would just be evidence right here. What did he use going to Antarctica for? To troll. And basically say, well, I'm going to ignore everything that the flat earthers say, and I'm going to come out here and I'm going to say this is the final experiment, and then I'm going to troll them from here on out. Flat earthers is so stupid. They are broke. They don't have no money. They are terrible people. Do pastors talk like that? Most flat earthers, but he's failed to mention most flat earthers is Christians. Nathan Oakley do his show on a Discord that is basically a Christian Discord. There's Bible studies in that Discord and everything. Matter of fact, the only people that's not a Christian, the only flat earthers that's not a Christians, are the two flat earthers that he brought on a trip with him. I don't even think the girl is like, seriously. Not to put any shade, because nobody know who the girl is, Elizabeth, except probably like me. I know her on the Clubhouse thing. I don't know of her. I don't know her. But I don't even think she's a Christian. So did you do this trip to basically, you only did this to debunk the flat earth, which would just be worldly things? Or did you do this trip to basically preach the gospel? Did you preach any sermons at this? Because I bet you would have annoyed everybody there. Because Mattoon ain't no real Christian for real. I just can't believe Mattoon to be a real Christian. I believe Mattoon is just lying about that. I believe I could see Mattoon with Iron Raw, Matt Dillahunty. I could see him with all of those guys. If all of those guys was to call Mattoon up there right now, Mattoon would go there and pretty much be an atheist with them, with those guys. I think Craig is already an atheist. All these, and Jaron is basically an atheist. Jaron don't believe nothing in the Bible. He don't believe no creator and none of that nonsense. Not that it's nonsense, but he thinks it's nonsense. And all these guys grift on YouTube off of Christianity because Christianity is popular across the whole world. So of course, if you being controversial, you're gonna get some likes. You're gonna get some people, some eyes on you. And look at Will Duffy. He's trying to do the same thing. But it's worse for Will Duffy because he have a greater responsibility. He have people following him, people looking up to him, people looking at him to be the man that's that's a man of God. It's nothing wrong with following a man, long as that man following God. Let's check this out. Where we at?
Lying and deception. I have come to the conclusion that neither deceptions.
That's not what. No, it don't mean always wrong. You go ahead. You're bad. He should have worded it that way. And the exception don't know that you're willing to come on the show. I would like to schedule a thumb.
And so that's actually the best word to look up here and define.
And your statement made it seem that way. So I'm glad you're here to say, well, listen, I do away with the law. Still is wrong to kill in America. That's still a law. So I'm saying myself and I had to kill a man, that'll be wrong. If I kill this, and that makes more sense that way. So I'm glad they can say, well, okay, he really meant what he said. I said
All right, we
that
right
earlier
here.
in
This where is that? My bad, y'all.
the video. So I'm glad you're here to say, well, I really didn't mean it as said. Don't take that face back. We do that sometime, right? So I'm not gonna be a flat earther, as you call it, to say, well, nope, you said it, I'm gonna hold you on it, and I'm not giving you an out. You cleared it up here, right? So now people can look at this.
Well, even as a Christian, you should basically hold him on something that he said that is basically wrong in the scriptures. Because in the scriptures it said you're not supposed to add to them. So
Stream, and they can say, well, okay, we all say some things and maybe we could have worded it differently. This is what Pastor Duffy meant. Because Pastor Duffy, you had people out there defending you as if you were meaning it that way. So I'm glad you're able to tell your defenders out there that, hey guys, don't defend that because I didn't really even mean it that way. What I meant was this. And that makes more sense because we all know that killing isn't even all.
now check this out. Who is his defenders? Who's defending that? Is it real Christians, real pastors defending that? No. It's only YouTubers. Bet you most of those YouTubers that so-called defending Will Duffy is laughing at Will Duffy because they call him Will Duffy probably a hypocrite. Like, oh, you a server God that let you lie? But Will Duffy don't care, long as he get views.
Always wrong. I say killing is not inherently immoral because I had to defend myself and I had to kill a man. That'll be wrong. If I kill somebody, I'm gonna go to jail. But if I do it in self-defense, I'm not. So there are exceptions, but you still is wrong to kill in America. That's still a law. So I'm saying the exception don't do away with the law, and your statement made it seem that way. So I'm glad you're here to say, well, listen, I said that, but I didn't mean that. So now no one can no longer hold that against you. It's cleared up.
The definition of the word inherent is existing in something as a permanent, essential, or characteristic attribute. And so that's actually the best.
Well, yes, a permanent, essential. No, it's the same thing. It's saying the same thing. It's talking about a characteristic or an attribute that is basically permanent because it came from you by nature itself. It was inherent from someone else. That's not the best definition either, because the word inherently comes from the root word inherent, which means that it came from something else. You inherit something from something else. You're not inheriting it from yourself and it's just permanent. It's permanent because it's natural. But you inherit this from something else. So when you say it's inherently, or it's something that is inherently wrong, that means that it came from something. In most things that's inherently wrong or inherently right, of course, that comes from pretty much God. God set the law. But that's what the scriptures is actually talking about. God is the creator, so he set the law. He the one that gave the Jews the law. So right and wrong inherently came from God. All Jews who have inherent the law, where was it inherent from? God himself, Yahweh. So even in the whole example that you gave, when you trying to say that it's permanent, no, it's only permanent because it's natural. So you basically trying to say that, well, lying is not inherently wrong because that would be a permanent thing. Yes, lying is inherently wrong. And it is permanent, for if you lie, you are doing wrong, period. Says it right there in the scriptures. So if it says in the scriptures that lying and being deceitful is inherently wrong, then you are basically making your own point. Yes, lying and being deceitful is inherently wrong. So therefore, if you lie, it's wrong. Now, it really doesn't even matter what situation it is in. The act of being deceitful is wrong. Now, the situation that you're in when you force to lie in order to help someone else, yes, God knows your heart and he knows you're trying to help someone else and he will forgive you for lying. But that doesn't change the fact that it's wrong. Now, if you force to defend yourself and you kill someone, right? God knows your heart, so he will forgive you for your sins. But killing someone, committing murder, is wrong. And it's inherently wrong, and it will never be right. Because God set the law, and he's a man of justice, and he's a God of justice. So he will still punish you, but he either punish you or he could forgive you. God knows your heart because he know all things. So he know why you killed that person. That don't mean you killing that person wasn't wrong. It just means that you didn't have a choice to do so. So yes, inherently wrong, even in your definition, lying is inherently wrong. Yes, that's true. So therefore it is wrong. And yes, killing someone in any situation is wrong. It's just that God knows your heart and therefore he will forgive you for your sins. Just like all men have sinned and all men have not been under the law. That's why even the Jews had sacrifices when men sinned. That's why God himself even punished the Jews throughout the generations and dispensations. That's why the Messiah had to come down and die on the cross, for all men sin, because all men under the law have broken the law, because the law was not for them. The law was to show who God is. But the law was, but the Jews have inherited the law from God, Yahweh himself, which put them under the burden of the law. This is preaching the gospel, Will. This is what you should have been explaining in your church. And this is what you should have been explaining to Brother Sanchez. And you should have been breaking this down with scriptures that supports this.
Word to look up here and define.
I like that definition.
Okay, cool.
Why is you using definitions? You shouldn't even be arguing about definitions. All of this is in the scriptures, the thing that you're supposed to be referencing in the first place. It's not about what English definitions and present definitions is saying. It's about what it meant when it was written in the Bible. What it meant when it was written in those scriptures that you basically referring to. Because you're saying that lying isn't inherently wrong. That's what you're saying. Where is that in the scriptures? Because in the scriptures, being deceitful is inherently wrong. The devil was a liar. He was a liar from the very beginning. The devil is inherently wrong. Point blank.
Cool. I have ended flat Earth. What are your thoughts on that?
Well,
what is we talking about flat Earth for? As a pastor, you want to change and segue the conversation away from the scriptures. That needs to be corrected. This is your chance to preach the gospel and be a pastor. And you're going to set being a pastor aside to become a flat earth debunker. So you instead of having a Christian debate or a discussion, you want to turn this into a flat earth versus globe debate. So you putting worldly things over preaching the gospel. You setting salvation aside to basically preach the religion of the globe. So you more of a heliocentrist than a man of God? So you're not a pastor then. You just like Mattoon, Craig, and all the rest of those guys. You might as well be an atheist.
This is what my thoughts is on the final experiment. I would love.
Now, this is where Brother Sanchez, this is where I disagree with him, man. I'm like, first off, I'm not about to talk to you about worldly things right now, because right now we're talking scriptures. So this discussion is not about what the world is, because that's a physical and natural world. What we're now talking about is what the Creator have inspired in these scriptures. We talking about Yahweh, which is a greater, higher being and greater than the physical natural world. So no matter what the world is, whether it's a globe or flat, God created it. So right now, we need to go ahead and correct something that you basically said, or you going to correct me of what I'm saying. Because I'm saying lying is inherently wrong. Being deceptive is inherently wrong, according to the scriptures. According to God, where the law was inherent from. This is God's law, greater than natural law. So what is we talking about? Why are you trying to talk about natural law, which is not even a natural law? So no, we're not talking about the physical and natural world right now. We're talking about God's law. Why you want to segue as a pastor and put that to the side so you could talk about, oh, I ended flat earth. You haven't ended anything. Who cares? So what? You want a cookie? Right now, you supposed to be a pastor first. You supposed to be preaching salvation. That's where you get your pat on the back. And that blessing comes from God, not me, not man. Did you give up your minister license?
Pastor Duffy, now that I know that you're willing to come on the show, I would like to schedule a thumbnail and schedule us a big show that me and you can sit down and just talk about nothing but flat earth from all perspectives and the final experiment. That'll be just me and you for the whole show. Is that something you think that me and you can set up? You got my word. I'm down for it.
Yes, definitely. Because the flat earth cannot.
So you definitely could talk about the flat earth, but you cannot talk about what you said in this sermon. Again, you are putting the gospel aside to promote. It's because it's all about promotion, right? As a pastor, you preaching the gospel to promote salvation. You want to bring people to Jesus in order for them to be saved, because then let them know that he died on the cross for their sins. You promoting the church. That should come first. Hold up, guys. All right, all right. I'm gonna check that in a minute. Okay. But that should come first. Right? As a pastor. And I like how later on, I think that Brother Sanchez didn't catch on to this, because Brother Sanchez still had his flat earth hat on. No, when I'm talking to a pastor, I'm putting my Christian hat on, always on. My salvation should always be on. Right? It's God first, then man. Quoted from a guy I know named Steve. God first, then man. Not man, then God. Not I'm going to put the physical, natural world, whether it's the world's a globe or a flat earth, then I'm going to talk about God later. No, it's God first, then man, especially as a pastor. You live for God first. You don't live for what men think first. You shouldn't even be worried about what flat earth Christians think about the world. Who cares? Long as they know that Jesus is there to save them and can provide salvation for them, and he is the only way in order for them to get salvation, and they have to believe that he died on the cross for their sins. as long as they believe in that, or long as they know that to be true, that's all that is needed. For that, your job is done at that point. And that's what you should be basically preaching all the time. You should be open to all discussions about that. Not, oh, I want to throw this away and get to talking, and I love to come back and talk to you about the flat earth. I thought the flat earth was a bunch of retards. Was a bunch of stupid people. That's more important than you talking about these people's salvation, even if they are stupid. They got all eternity to figure out what the earth is. Because God gonna bless them with eternal life if they get salvation. You believe that they shouldn't have salvation if they think the earth is flat? Then you a hypocrite. That's not what the Messiah said when he walked the earth plane. He said, treat man as I treated my disciples. Treat man as I treated you. He preached the gospel. He preached the gospel to people of sin, who have sinned their whole life, who spoke against God. He came to Paul himself when Paul was persecuting Christians. The last man that he should have went to. Paul was persecuting Christians. Forgave him of his sins. And Paul was probably one of the greatest apostles that ever walked the earth plane. Other than Peter. Peter denied them 3 times. But yet you can't find it in your heart to preach the gospel to a flat earther because he believed the earth is flat. And you rather mock him on your YouTube channel than preach the gospel. Or at least congratulate the Christians for serving the Lord and Savior, which is Jesus Christ. Or Yahshua the Messiah if they believe in that. If they say, hey, well, I won't go by his name, Yahshua the Messiah. Nothing wrong with that. Whatever you guys are saying. Because I heard you talking to Whitson when Whitson was saying that kind of stuff to you. But Whitson don't even believe Yahshua to be a divinity. But you would love to have that discussion with him. But when it comes down to now that somebody is saying, hey, look, you preached this in this sermon, I think we should have a discussion about what it said in the scriptures in the Bible and things of that nature. You want to, oh, no, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the flat earth. What? This is bizarro world.
It's not possible anymore after the final experiment.
Who cares? So what? That's according to you. That's your belief. Who cares? We're not talking about that. Why is that important? Why is that even on your mind? Is somebody calling you out about the Bible? Ain't that the time you're supposed to be putting on your armor? A lot of people that don't read the scriptures don't know what that means. But you're supposed to be a representative of God, the true Jehovah's Witness, or the true witness of Yahweh. And telling people that Jesus Christ is the only way of salvation. And I'm going to keep saying that over and over again, because that's what you're supposed to be saying over and over again. And you're supposed to be explaining it in all ways and let all things be proven under him. Over and over again.
It definitely is, and I'll give you this before we set that up. And I got my little calendar here. We're gonna establish a date right here today. But here's why I'll say that now.
And the reason why I'm probably so passionate about this is because my dad's a pastor. I can't walk in my dad's house without him bringing the Bible up. I can't walk in my dad's house without him bringing up scriptures. I can't walk in my dad's house without my mother bringing the Bible to the table. I can't walk in there and walk out of there. I could do anything. My dad he's going to, if I say anything, hey, dad, let's say, if I go in there and be like, hey, dad, you know in the Bible it says it's okay for you to lie? He will literally bring out the Bible and we'll have a whole Bible discussion right there. And it will be for 3 or 4 hours before I get out of there. I could be in a rush and that can wait. This is important. And whoever in the house is going to sit at that table. Now, I'm not trying to say my dad's the greatest pastor of all time, but I think that is how a pastor is supposed to act. Or the greatest minister of all time. And my dad don't even have a church. He just have his minister license. He just went to school. But how somebody that don't even have a church, don't even have people following him, he just basically ministered to his family, is more of a pastor than somebody that have the responsibility.
It's a culture, and the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe.
You got a bunch of phonies out here. That's what it seems like. And it's kind of crazy because it said that in the scriptures that you're going to have plenty men that claims to be the representative of Jesus, but they're going to be deceivers. And I hate to say this about Will Duffy, but it seems like Will Duffy is fitting that description perfectly. There is no way a pastor should be putting this much time into flat earth. There's no way Will Duffy should have a channel full of debunk videos laughing and mocking flat earthers who are Christians. Let's just be real. Flatzoid's a Christian. Pretty much everybody on that panel are Christians. I mean, PJ literally have Bible sermons at the beginning of his videos. Even no matter what he's talking about. Matter of fact, PJ had the most important scripture. When Pharisees told Jesus what was the most important law, maybe we'll need to look at that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Pastor Duffy. You did debunk something. I'm not the other flatter.
He didn't debunk anything. And again, Brother Sanchez, this is not important. This is worldly. This is the physical and natural world, the creation. Right now, y'all talking about God's law. Way beyond what's going on in natural law. It's okay to have those discussions. It's okay to debate about it. But it's really not a debate. It's either it is or it's not. Because this is an objective truth. Physical nature. Either the world is flat or it's not flat. Nobody's dumb for believing that the world is flat. Nobody's dumb for believing the world is a globe. They may act dumb and may act silly for their logic. But nobody's retarded because, I believe that the world's a globe. I believe it's a spinning water ball. Because that's what they've been taught their whole life. And nobody's retarded if they say the world is flat. Because they just basically being critical thinkers. And all the evidence that they see on the earth is saying that the earth is flat. You're not dumb for that. You're just wrong. You're not dumb for believing either way. But a pastor and the one that is serving God, and somebody that's supposed to be serving God, that's a responsibility. That's being very hypocritical for you to sit up here and have the responsibility of other people that are following you, and you neglecting their salvation to go on trips in Antarctica to troll other Christians.
Earthers. Now, I don't think you debunked the flat earth, me personally. I think what you debunked was the circling sun over the AE map, Pastor Duffy. And there were many flat earthers, Pastor Duffy, that were 50-50 on what does the sun do in Antarctica. No one knows because they never been. So they got to be honest and say, well, I believe it does this. I believe it does this. And then you try to complete your model with your belief, but you can't with a belief. So with the final experiment, I don't think you didn't give people a fact. You gave them.
And see, Brother Sanchz is having a problem.
Incomplete. Why I say that is because.
Check this out. Brother Sanchz should have left it at, hey, me and you could talk about that, at another time. Now that I know that you was willing to come on the show, we could talk about that another time. But right now we're talking about this. This is more important. And then if Will Duffy was to say, no, it's not, or Will Duffy was to say, oh, well, no, it's not important. No, I think that the flat earth is more important than what we're talking about the scriptures. No, we're talking about God's law, what God said, or whether or not it's okay for you to be deceitful and be a liar like the devil. God said he hates the devil. Everything that the devil does is against him. You saying it's okay to have the attributes of a God, of a deity or whatever, of a creation that is against God himself. So yes, no, that is more, no, this discussion right here is more important than you talking about whether or not the earth is flat or whether or not the earth is a globe, something that you claim was already proven 2,000 years ago.
Because they now have to believe that that this thing is real. You didn't fake it. Because listen to me for a second, Duffy. The flat earthers are in a position where they already a group of people that
I kind of want to skip this part because it is nonsense at this point. I don't even care about this part. It's already the final experiment. We already have our opinion of it. We already said it way before Will Duffy even did the final experiment. What goes on in the sky isn't relevant to what the ground is, because the ground, to determine whether the ground is a spheroid or it's flat, right? Determine whether the ground has the shape of a sphere or it's flat is geometry. It's a geometry category. It's in a category of geometry, which means that is the deductive reasoning that you would have to use in order to determine whether or not the earth has the shape of a sphere or is flat, horizontal. Math, measurements, and geometry, which is all math. That's the only math that have the deductive reasoning to determine the fact of what the earth is. Not an observation of the sky, because whatever the sky is doing is happening in the sky. Whatever you seeing in the sky is just wonders in the sky. The only thing that you're going to determine in the sky, right, is what you see from the ground in the sky. That's it. And whatever you see in the sky, if it's contradicting what you basically experiencing or the geometry, the deductive reasoning that you basically came up with on the ground, that means that the sky is contradicting the very physical reality that you experience on the ground. It's that simple. Which means that you don't have an absolute understanding of the sky. Nobody do. No scientists make the claim to know everything that's going on in the sky. They got claims. They got theories. They have speculation. They have models, but they're concepts. Models is conceptual unless you could prove it to be true in reality. Now, how you validate it to be true in reality, it must either be a scientific model or a physical miniature model. Miniature model usually have miniature model usually is a replica of something that is in reality that is bigger. A scientific model is basically backed up and validated with scientific experiments, hypothesis tests. You talking about what the sun is doing in the sky and basing it upon a conceptual model that you could get on the computer. It's not science. It's affirming the consequence. If P is true, I will see Q. I see Q, therefore is P. It's true. It's that simple. The discussion is over with after that until you come up with a logical syllogism that is deductive reasoning to prove directly in the correct category of whether or not the earth is a globe or whether or not the earth is flat. Hold up. Hold up. I could pretty much let this play. Hold up. Hold up, one quick second. Go play this video.
Don't believe video footage readily, easily. We like to scrutinize it because we found a lot of flaws in NASA's footage when it comes to space. So when you're giving us footage, we're gonna do what the Bible say, question all things, prove all things, and be very biblical, accurate, and thoroughly in it. So when you prove something, it's no longer a belief, it's a fact. If a person believed that the 24-hour sun does this or does that, they would have to go to Antarctica themselves. Another scenario is, I can't do nothing but believe in space because I've never been. I got to believe the people that did go and see it for themselves and ask the question, why would they lie to me? Now, if they do got a reason to lie to me, and they are lying to me, the Bible ain't gonna give me a pass because the Bible told me to prove all things, and I can't prove that they're in space, which is why people say, why would they lie? But the Bible don't tells us to go around asking people, why would you lie? It tells us to just prove everything for ourselves. And until I can prove space for myself by going, then I can't just go into a belief system other than I believe in the power of the Most High. Okay, so now, and that's okay. God don't require me to believe in space. NASA do. God just require me to believe in God. Okay, Pastor, I can go to heaven. Okay, now I'm trying to answer your questions, but you can definitely interject. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you should be consistent then and do not believe in a dome.
So check this out. He was trying to get back into the belief in God, which I would have never even addressed anything that had anything to do about flat earth in this discussion, because this is not what the discussion is even about. It's not even the fact that this is not what the discussion is even about. It's just the fact that as a Christian and as a pastor, we have a more important discussion at hand for us to be talking about. And I'm not going to set aside the spiritual matter for the physical one. So if you want to sit up here and keep taking it to a dome and things of that nature, you still talking about physical things, when right now we're talking about God's law, which is spiritual. So it seems like you are focusing on the wrong thing right now. Why are you so focused on flat earth? Because it's not like I'm running away from the conversation, because I'm not. And I'm not segueing away from the conversation, because I'm not. It's just not right now. That is not the conversation. Matter of fact, this will always take precedent. So I am consistent. Whenever we talking about scriptures, that will always take precedent over flat earth. And you as a pastor, it should always take precedent over anything physical. Or else, why do you even have a church? What you in church talk? What you in church giving scientific studies or something? Which is not scientific. You in church in there with a TFE, the final experiment logo in there. Ain't you supposed to be preaching the gospel? You in there trying to be cool. And that's literally what this stuff come down to. You guys want to be cool on YouTube. Y'all want to be Speed, and y'all want to be all these guys. Y'all want to be Speed, Destiny, all these guys. Y'all want to be these big debater guys. Y'all a bunch of clowns. And this is what I need to, and this is what I want to say to flat earthers. Let's stop paying these clowns any attention, y'all. Because all they doing is making money off of us. Brian Logic got it right. Why should we give these guys any of our time? They're not paying us. They're not giving us no money. And they're a bunch of hypocrites. They don't even care about the subject. Half of them don't even study the subject. Half of them, most of them, almost all of them don't know what they're talking about. The only thing that they know is parroted talking points that they got off Reddit. I got all the Reddits on my thing. I can show it. They got all the talking points that they get off Reddit. They read it verbatim from Reddit or repeat verbatim what Craig, Mattoon, and all of those guys said, which they got from Reddit or Facebook. These guys is a bunch of clowns. I don't understand why we give these guys any of our time. Let those guys have their own little discourse. Let those guys have their own little TikToks. Tell those guys we're not debating, not having no discussions with you guys unless you are paying us. Period. Man, we want to promote ourselves. We want to do that. I say, well, listen, we only want to have legitimate interviews where we could get where there's no glober around us. We don't want to even give these guys our time of day because all they are doing is using our content to make YouTube videos and make money off of. While we're being censored, they're basically making money off of us where the whole YouTube community get to see what they're saying, but they can't see what we're saying. So they can straw man any argument that they want and nobody will be the wiser because you're not seeing our videos anyway. You have to actually be a part of the community in order to basically even see a video. So why should we even give these guys the time of day? Ain't nobody else giving us the time of day. You got a pastor right now being an absolute troll. And he's putting the whole gospel aside, spending $500,000 of whoever's money just to troll flat earthers on Candace Owens' show. Then you got two idiot flat earthers that's paying this guy any attention. I don't even put Lisbeth in that category because she's brand new. They basically dragged her in it because from what I heard from the conversation that she had on Clubhouse the other night, Jared basically dragged her there because he knew he needed her to come because she's like an innocent bystander at that point. She literally just came to the topic maybe like a year ago. Other than that, she was probably a full-time Glober. So that's just somebody that's the and matter of fact, she's probably the only credence or the only evidence that they even have that they even went to Antarctica. So for everybody, Lisbeth have been around. She's brand new to this topic. I've been talking to Lisbeth on Clubhouse for a while. She is brand new to this topic. She don't even know the arguments. She don't even know none of this stuff. Witsit and Jaren pretty much dragged her there because she's trying to opt out at one point when people was like, who the hell is Elizabeth? They telling her, oh, it's okay. Instead of saying, you know what, we really should get another, like, an actual flat earther. We should get maybe we should try to, like, contact somebody else. At least if we contact somebody else with her, No, they wanted to get her because they know she don't really know nothing about it anyway. And they knew no real flat earthers was coming. Because they knew it was affirming the consequence fallacy. She don't know that. Everybody that come in her room is either brand new flat earthers that don't know nothing about flat earth. Really, honestly, they don't know the arguments as good. They only know somewhat of them. Or trolling globers who really don't even know the globe arguments. They only know what Matone, Craig, and all those guys say and what Google tell them. So that's all she know. So him trying to run around and, oh yeah, I said this and I got all the flat earthers to do this and I got all the flat earthers to do that. Will Duffy is lying.
Until you see a dome with your own eyes.
Well, here's the thing about believing in the dome. People who are Christians tend to believe in what the Bible say. So the Bible don't say space up there, and that's what NASA's saying. But the Bible do say a dome. Now, I didn't see Jesus walk on water, Pastor, but I believe that there was a man that walked on water at some point in my life. So guess what the Bible gonna...
So basically Will Duffy is off the hook right now, right? Yeah, he's off the hook.
Give us a lot of things that we can't see, Pastor, that we just have to have faith and believe, and you should know that as a pastor. So that wasn't a good example. And I'm here as a Christian that's only concerned with doing what's right and staying in alignment with the Bible. And I don't think when I'm going off into man's understanding about my reality, I'm doing that because the Bible speaks of a dome. And for me to go with what NASA's saying, I got to disagree with the Bible.
I've never seen anything in the Bible that references a hemisphere.
Okay.
The Bible never talks about something that's in the shape of a hemisphere.
Okay, I got you.
So I think that you've made that jump.
Then he don't read the Bible. But finally, right? Finally, we getting into some scriptures, right? 13 minutes in the video. He'd been trying to talk about flat earth this whole time. But finally, we getting into the scriptures. So is Will Duffy about to bring up a scripture that says that it's not a flat earth? But isn't Will Duffy supposed to be talking about whether or not lying is okay? Because according to Will Duffy, and he pretty much doubled down on it, he said that lying isn't inherently wrong at all. You could be as deceptive as you like. As long as you're in the correct situation, you could be a liar. So we're talking to a deceiver already. We're talking to somebody that thinks lying is okay. When it says in the scriptures, and I know this is correct, it says in the scriptures that the devil was a liar from the very beginning. Something that Will Duffy should know, and something that Will Duffy should be repeating, and something that Will Duffy, if he was correct in what he said, should be saying and should be bringing up the scripture. But instead of him doing that, he want to sit up here and double down and say that lying is okay. And then lying isn't inherently wrong. And look at the definition of inherent. Yeah, the definition of inherent comes from inherently, come from the root word inherent. But it's only really talking about the law. In the law, the Jews inherit the law from God. So you're talking about God's law. And God said in the law that lying is inherently wrong, bro. So what is you talking about? God said lying is wrong. The devil was a liar from the very beginning. Example. And you're saying, no, God was incorrect. Lying is perfectly okay because killing is perfectly okay in war. Yes, but you still have to basically explain, because God basically said that killing and murder is wrong, and you actually have to atone for that. Yeah, that's in the Old Testament too, brother. So what is you talking about? So lying is wrong, killing is wrong, all of that is wrong, because it's all in the scriptures. Murder is wrong. Lying is wrong. If you want to say, oh, well, killing in self-defense, yes, but the fact that you kill someone, that is still actually wrong. But you able to be forgiven for that due to the situation.
I got you. Let's read these scriptures. Because when you say that there's not a spear enclosing us, like what flat earthers saying, then
Hemisphere.
Let me show you what I'm saying right here on my model.
I don't know why Brother Sanchez is bringing out models, man. He don't have a model, and Will Duffy don't have a model neither. We already basically got past the fact that it's affirming the consequence fallacy, and Will Duffy knows it because he have yet to come with a response to say that it's not affirming the consequence fallacy. Maybe because Will Duffy don't even know what an affirming the consequence fallacy is, because Mattoon, Jaron, Whitsitt, and all of these guys didn't tell him. That's the one part they didn't tell him, because every time somebody say, hey, you know that's an affirming the consequence fallacy, Will Duffy, he basically, well, no, actually, I was told it wasn't. That's literally what he told Flat Zoe yesterday. Oh, well, actually, I was told it wasn't. It's not the affirming the consequence. It's not a false dichotomy. It's not what I was told. Yeah, that's not what you was told, Will. Oh, they didn't tell you the part where it's not a scientific experiment because it's affirming the consequence fallacy. They didn't tell you that part. I mean, it's not even inductive reasoning. It's not even inductive. It's not even a probability logic. It's not even that. It's not even none of those. It's not a ejective logic. It's not an inductive logic, and it's not deductive logic. It's not none of those. It's a affirming the consequence fallacy. It's not even indirect. It's directly indirect evidence for something that you claiming to be true. It's not even in the right category to even prove, or whether or not the Earth has the shape of a spheroid or is it in a horizontal plane. That would be geometry. That would be math. That would be geometry with mathematics as angles and measurements. Deductive reasoning to tell you what the Earth is. It's not even a scientific question. Mr. Experiment. Oh, Jerry and them didn't tell you that. Oh, they didn't tell you. Oh, well, matter of fact, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jerry did just yell at the whole flat earth community for like 3 or 4 years, telling us that science doesn't mean anything. But yet Jerry goes with you and say he's going to the final experiment, and now all of a sudden science proved things now. I remember Jaron been yelling at Nathan Oakley and everybody else that was saying science actually proved things. He was yelling at all of us and basically said we was all a bunch of retards because we were saying that science actually absolutely proved, because it deals with deductive reasoning, the law of non-contradiction. Both things in reality cannot be true at the same time. Meaning, in a scientific experiment, the null and the alternative outcome cannot be true. It would either have to be the null or the alternative. Either you're going to prove the cause of the effect to be true or the cause of the effect to be not true. In a constant, which would be your CV, the control variable. Jaron said that's nonsense. Jaron said, oh no, it's a probability. And Jaron said all of that is bullcrap, and we a bunch of scammers for it. So is Jaron a scammer now? Is Will Duffy? Did Jaron just get Will Duffy to scam the flat Earth community now because he's bringing a scientific experiment now? Is Jaron scamming us because it's totally not proving anything? But Will Duffy said he ended the flat earth as if he have actual evidence that's proved the flat earth to be untrue based upon the experiment with Jaron. So is Jaron deceiving us? Is Jaron a liar? Or is Jaron just double speaking with Whitsitt, another person that FED talked to? And where's that retraction, Whitsitt? Ain't you supposed to be getting Jaron to retract his statement about Nathan Oakley and everybody else that told Jaron that science absolutely proved things? It deals with the law of non-contradiction. Oh, y'all didn't tell Will Duffy that Jaron has been telling everybody for around maybe like 2 or 3 years that science absolutely don't prove anything. But Jaron walks his butt right on the plane and basically do this final experiment, and now he's yelling at everybody saying that, oh, we scientifically proven in Antarctica, the affirming the consequence fallacy, that the earth is not flat, it's totally a globe. You see, Will Duffy, this is why lying is inherently wrong, because this is a scam. Being manipulative, being deceptive, being a liar, being a double speaker is wrong. Even God, I mean, because Will Duffy, he put God aside to talk about the flat earth, so I guess he's not important. But even it's not important, being that's created everything, even he say that lying is inherently wrong. I mean, since he is the one that inherent the law to the Jews, since you are talking about the Bible, scriptures pretty much say God said it's wrong. Shouldn't be lying. For those reasons. And I think those are pretty good examples, Will Duffy. Oh, but unless you part of the lie, I guess you're going to, defend it. I guess you're going to double down on it. You part of the lie. So that makes you, I don't know, maybe a scammer with Jaron? But no, we the scammers because we say science actually absolutely proved things. But you guys said that, but Jaron said it didn't for 3 years. And now he's basically going to Will Duffy to go to the experiment that don't prove things. Oh, but it do prove things. So Jaron a double speaking liar then, right? No, well, he's not. Oh, well, he got to be a scammer because he's basically got money. He's getting people to pay to look at the scientific experiment, the thing that don't prove. You see how the lies work? You see how this don't work? Will Duffy. You see why God said that it's evil? A guy for 3 years basically excommunicated from another guy that tried to tell him that, hey, this actually do prove things, and this is where we actually being tricked. They're saying that they have science that validate certain experiments, but actually when we look at it and we actually take a look at it, it's not actually an experiment. This is where we actually being deceived. Experiment need these things. They need a hypothesis. Now, way to construct a hypothesis, they need this. They need a dependable variable, which is the observation, which is something that they claim that they always have, but they don't go no further. Then they need an independent variable, the manipulated variable, which will be the cause of the dependable variable, the natural effect. And then you will need a CV, a variable that is inconstant, because it deals with the law of non-contradiction. Both things cannot be true in reality at the same time. In that variable of in the constant, either the null or the alternative hypothesis is true. So either you're going to prove or disprove the cause of the natural effect. All that was explained to Jaron very politely, I thought. What did Jaron do? You used the mute button. You didn't sit there, and you a scammer because you telling us the science absolutely proved things. And what Jaron do with everybody else that told him that science absolutely proved things? He called us all retards. But now Jaron, fast forward to Will Duffy, he talks to the pastor. Did the pastor have Jaron see the light? Oh no, because I guess science only proves things when you got an agenda to get YouTube views. Let's get to these so-called scriptures, because it seems like, the not pastor is the only one that's bringing up scriptures. But let's see if Will Duffy going to quote any scriptures. since he's the pastor.
Show you what I'm saying right here on my model, because I don't think you know my model real quick.
Now here we go. Brother Sanchez talking about a model.
Glad you have a model.
I have
I
many
think Brother Sanchez needs to talk to us too about science. And I think Brother Sanchez needs to know what a model is. I kind of explained what a model is earlier. I'm not going to keep
models.
going.
I don't like to use the word model. They're really called conceptions. These are ancient conceptions. I'm finna go into history class right now.
And it's not a model. And it's the same thing that the globe is. It's just basically a mathematical conception, which is not science. It's not a scientific model. It's not even a miniature model, because a miniature model is a replica of something in reality that is there. Oh, God.
The ancients taught about a flat earth. Now, we were taught that they didn't know everything. Of course, that they were wrong because we figured out technology and all of that. But I'm saying I don't think they were wrong. All right, that's what makes me a flat earther, that I don't think the ancients were wrong. And I don't think the Bible is wrong. So this is what is described by
That's a Nordic model.
flat earthers, the ancients, the Bible, and all of that.
I've never seen this in the Bible.
Yeah, it's not. It's not in the Bible.
Okay, you're never seen no illustrations in the Bible, because the Bible ain't a book of illustrations. So what I'm showing you is the conception that the Hebrews had based on the scriptures when they were explaining the Bible. But this ain't necessarily the Hebrew conception. This one here is the Nordic conception. Many people had their different conceptions, and the Hebrews would.
Yeah, Bible U, if you ain't here, I think Brother Sanchez needs to talk to you.
It was in alignment with the Nordic.
Matter of fact, Bible U, I think Will Duffy need to come to your house, and you need to give him multiple Bible lessons about lying.
People. But the reason, the Bible talks about he who sits above the circle of the earth on the throne, is because this is how they conceive the universe. Now, science says that the Hebrew people wasn't right, and that we figured it out later, and that's understandable. Not all ancients were right about everything, but just to your point real quick, we both believe in a sphere enclosing us, Pastor Duffy. Because when you say that the Bible don't speak of us being enclosed in a sphere,
his dog going crazy. My dog going crazy.
Okay.
What if the firmament in Genesis 1 is a sphere and inside of it is a globe?
Hold on a second. You got to let me make my point here. You keep interjecting by saying hemisphere. We do not teach. I don't know where you get hemisphere from, but the biblical conception is in alignment with all of the other ancient conceptions. And there's an underworld up under the earth called Sheol, and all of these.
Okay. And then another thing is, Brother Sanchez should have. Well, they both could basically say, "Oh, where's the scriptures where it says something about a hemisphere?" But again, notice we got away from the lion bit.
Conceptions, even the biblical one.
So that was concluded with Will Duffy basically saying, "Oh, well, no, that's not what I was saying." And then when he explained it, it was actually what he was saying. Oh, I wasn't saying it wasn't okay to deceive, but I was saying in certain situations when you want to lie, you can. It's okay. Totally okay. And it says it right in the scriptures that it's okay for you to lie sometimes.
It speaks about another half, another dome. Let me show you how this looks in science. This is an electromagnetic torus field, Pastor Duffy. This based on science, all right? We know the science of a torus field. All the ancestors were saying was that we live in one of these. So to answer your question, I don't think that the earth is a globe, Pastor Duffy. I think that the universe is a globe. Hebrew said that the layers of the atmosphere are our universe, and that the ground we're walking on is just one particular place in the universe that is splitting in the middle of the universe, we call it the earth. If you read right here, this is the ancient Hebrew conception of the universe. Now, inside of this universe is a realm called the earth in the middle. This is how the biblical people saw our earth. So, and they said right above, what they said was the heavens was the sky, which is why in all of the artwork we see God in the clouds, because the Hebrew said that God was right above us in the upper layers of the atmosphere. Now, not separated from us with space, right? When you try to disprove the fact that we live inside of a spherical
But it is kind of interesting because Brother Sanchez is trying to hold him to the to like the scriptures description of the earth. But this is just an illustration of somebody that basically this is what they opinion of what the scriptures are saying. It's not like it's actually what the scriptures are saying.
Atmosphere, like the Hebrew is saying. You're basically disproving the globe model as well, because we both teach the same thing here. And I'll end with this. On your globe model, sir, we also live inside of a spherical atmosphere. We just live on top of a spherical surface. I got the same concept you got. We both believe in a spherical atmosphere. I just believe we're on a flat ground inside of it like this. And that's why I still call it an atmosphere and not an atmosphere, Will Duffy. We both call it an atmosphere. We just don't think that the earth is the same shape of the atmosphere like what you're teaching right here on this model. So Duffy, don't try to disprove the fact that we're in a spherical dome, because even your model teach that, you know. I'm just saying we're on the same page with that.
Okay, that was nonsense.
Can you go back to the tab that starts with the word ancient?
Sure.
Oh yeah, because Will Duffy believed that God changed the earth. So, oh boy.
Okay, this is someone's opinion from
Yeah, that's correct. That is someone's opinion.
2012 as to what they think the ancient Hebrews' conception of the universe is. I was just contacted this week by a Jew who lives in Jerusalem, and he says this is not accurate.
Okay. Oh, so Will Duffy can time travel, you guys. So Will Duffy knew that he was going to have this discussion, and he knew that Brother Sanchez was going to bring this up, and he talked to and then he went back to time, and then he talked to a Jew, and the Jew told him that this is incorrect. Where is this Jew? And where's this time machine Will Duffy have? These guys love claiming that whenever you bring a point out, they say, "Oh, well, yeah, I knew you was going to do that. So yeah, I already asked someone in advance. Who is this guy? Oh, I'm not going to tell you who the guy is. He's a mystery. But I talked to this guy, the authority figure, in advance, and he told me that you are totally wrong. And because he told me that you're totally wrong, that means you are totally wrong." Mind blowing. Will Duffy with his time machine. He knew he was going to have this conversation with Brother Sanchez, and he knew it right at this exact moment, 18 minutes in it. He knew that Brother Sanchez was going to bring up this ancient Hebrew conception of the universe.
So
that's his opinion.
And what you're showing is someone else's opinion. So here's the deal.
I don't know why Will Duffy couldn't just say what you're showing right now is someone else's opinion. He could have just left it at that. I don't know why he had to basically say, "I went and talked to a Jew." I mean, see, lying. He's just lying.
Reality and present day than I do trying to figure out what somebody thought thousands of years ago, because we should be able to determine the shape of the world that we live in. And I don't think you can point to anything present day that shows we do not live on a globe.
I can.
What is that?
I'm gonna go to that in a minute, but you said some earlier just a minute ago, and I'm gonna answer both of them. First,
and again, Will Duffy is real chatty whenever he's talking about flat Earth, but he has absolutely nothing to say whenever he's talking about scripture. So is he a pastor? I bet Will Duffy cannot even get in no type of debate. Okay, not be any type of apologetic. Okay, not even have he can't even have a discussion about the scriptures. He's supposed to be a pastor. God's law should take priority over physical matters. But yet Will Duffy want to have a full-fledged debate about the flat earth for some reason.
When you talk about the flat earth model that I showed is my
Kind of hilarious on how he went to ChatGPT. Even ChatGPT have a bunch of scriptures supporting the flat earth.
opinion. Okay, it says in Isaiah 40 and 22, he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. Now I'm gonna stop right there about the circle of the earth. And before you take a shot at that, Pastor, let me do something real quick, Pastor. When the Bible say a circle of the earth, I don't want to lean into my own understanding. I don't want to give my opinion, right? I want to go with what the Bible said. Now, is a circle the same as a sphere? Because I know shapes. And when I was in school, I had to answer this in class.
It's actually a good argument. That's actually a good argument. And then another thing is too, Will Duffy should actually take what Brother Sanchez serious if he's talking about the Bible. Because if the Bible says something and Will Duffy basically, hold the Bible in high regard since he is a pastor, then I don't understand on why he basically is trying to say I'm going to discount this as evidence.
And I would have got it wrong, right? So I did get it right. My teacher asked me what's the difference between a circle and a sphere. My answer was, hey, a CD versus a basketball, baby. You mean to tell me I was taught wrong? When the Bible says circle here, does the Bible mean what it say and say what it mean? Because the Bible say don't add from it or take it away. And you just was concerned with me giving my opinion. So I don't want you to give your opinion. I just want you to let me know if the Bible is right, because I think the Bible know the difference between a circle and a sphere. Unless you need to help the Bible with that. I would like to know, what is the Bible doing calling the earth a circle and not a sphere?
So most of this verse, maybe all of it, is not literal, right? He doesn't he doesn't literally sitteth upon the earth. The inhabitants are not literally grasshoppers. And so you're trying to take.
Shout out to 22 people watching. Shout out to Nathan Oakley, Bible U, everybody that is talking in the chat. Please give your opinions. And also, please show Brother Sanchez some love as well, because we are looking at this pastor right now, pretty much telling us that the Bible means nothing, and pretty much you want to talk about the flat earth instead of talking about, whether lying is okay in the scriptures. So, kind of weird.
Something way too literal here. This is poetic language.
So we shouldn't even take none of the Bible literally, right? Because when you say that the people aren't really grasshoppers, the Bible aren't calling the people grasshoppers. It's saying they are like grasshoppers. It say, and the inhabitants thereof are as. So really the Bible is so specific in what it's saying. You can take it literally. Like when the Bible say, thou shalt not kill. What if somebody say, well, the Bible don't mean that literally? So I believe, right, that if the Bible is a book of truth, then truth is something that's meant to be taken literally. If I say my back hurt and you say, well, he don't mean that literally, I'm gonna say, hey man, quit ignoring my truth. My back do hurt. So truth is something that you do take literally, right? You don't play with the truth. You accept it or you don't. Now, if the Bible is a book of truth, I think we should take it all literally. And the Bible lets us know when to not take it literally, just like this scripture just said, we are as grasshoppers. So nobody can come along like you tried to do and deceive me and say the Bible is saying that the humans are grasshoppers. And the only way I would have to say, well, don't take the Bible literally if the Bible referred to me, if the Bible literally called me a grasshopper, but it didn't do that. It said, or as. You misread that. And I don't know if it was on purpose or not. But I think the Bible, you either take it all literally or take none of it literally, because it says don't add and don't take away. It's a book of truth, and we take the truth literally.
Okay, so let me explain. I'm still standing by that this is poetic and figurative.
Was that on purpose? Because I'm pretty sure he read that scripture before, especially if he's like not new to this topic. I don't know. That gives you something to think about. Is Will Duffy being a little bit deceptive since he think it's okay?
Not all scripture is poetic, but one of the beautiful things about a sphere is if you are above it, which if you look here on the right-hand side, it says he sits enthroned above the circle of the earth. With a sphere, wherever you are above it, you are above a circle.
I want to take the time and ask that if you follow this channel and you appreciate the work that we do, we cannot do it without your support. And one way you can support us is by becoming a member of this channel. And with your channel membership, you will be able to access perks like members only chat room, members only live streams, members first content, and so much more. Thank you so much in advance for becoming a member of this channel.
The horizon.
Yeah, I think Brother Sanchez, we need to have a conversation with Brother Sanchez. I actually talked to him on the comments. He said it's okay. Join in whenever he had his shows, when he have a bunch of people come in there. I'm probably going to go in there.
Is a circle on a sphere. When you're looking at a sphere, you can only see half of it. And what's the shape that you see is a circle. So you again, I made a prediction.
I don't understand that.
So basically,
I don't understand that. What you
no, it's nothing to understand. He's basically saying that the only thing that you're going to see is the flat earth. The only thing that you can experience is the flat earth, because that's how it's measured, that's how it's navigated, that's how it's flown on top of, that's how you experience the earth to be flat. As a matter of fact, you could ask Willie boy over there how you actually get those measurements, and how the radius value was actually accounted for. Didn't know that radius value actually come from measurements. How did they get those, by the way, Will? Since he want to play the flat earth game.
just said,
If
I'm
you
lost.
if you grab a globe, no matter which way you face it, you will only see a circle. You will always see a circle.
And guess what? You wouldn't call it a circle. That's just like.
Well, no, that's actually absolutely nonsense. Globe is 3-dimensional. A circle is 2-dimensional. Globe is a sphere, so it's 3-dimensional. A circle is 2-dimensional. That's why it's a difference. It seems like Will Duffy don't know basic geometry. Maybe that's why he didn't want to use geometry, the actual category that he's supposed to be using to prove whether or not the earth is a globe or a sphere. Whether or not the globe has the shape of a sphere, or whether or not the earth has the shape of a sphere, or whether or not the earth is flat. The correct category for that is mathematics and geometry. Why does he avoid that topic? Now we see why he avoided that. She don't even understand the difference between a 2-dimensional circle and a 3-dimensional sphere. Quite telling.
This, right?
But you know, someone that basically who have been in this discussion for a long time, Whitsitt. You mean Whitsitt didn't tell you the difference between a 2-dimensional circle and a 3-dimensional sphere? And that is the absolute category that you're supposed to be using whenever you're trying to prove or whether or not the earth is a sphere or flat? Whitsitt didn't tell you that? Oh, because Whitsitt and Jern said that you could get flat earth measurements on globes using Home Depot references. Oh, okay. I got you.
When NASA, hold on a second. When NASA went to the moon and they so-called took a picture at the earth, they didn't call it the blue circle. They call it the blue marble, because they're smart enough to know the difference between a CD and a basketball. I'm not gonna call that's. Let me show you what you're doing real quick, Pastor Duffy.
Well,
let me just show you this.
I do need to tell you, I made a prediction, and so far my prediction.
Hold on about your prediction real quick before you become.
You're trying to poison the well.
What you just did with the globe, That's like me saying these railroad tracks is a triangle. That'll be a lie. They're not a triangle. My perspective is making them one, and that is an illusion. Why would I refer to the illusion versus the truth, right? We know that it's a globe. Just because my eyes see it as a circle, I shouldn't call it what I see it as. I should call it what it is, Pastor Duffy, right? So I see this as a triangle, but I know that it's parallel lines, so I'm gonna call it parallel lines.
Well, you should teach flat earthers that when shadows do this,
No, I want to teach
parallel.
you something right now about why I want to call a circle and a spirit. One thing at a time. I want to teach you right now the difference between a CD and a basketball and the fact that the Bible means what it say and says what it means.
Notice, Will Duffy don't have nothing but smoke for flat earthers who are also Christians as well. So he's basically saying, oh, well, I'm against flat earthers. It seems like you more against flat earthers than actual demons, actual evil people that lie and deceive people. Maybe because Will Duffy is also a deceiver, because he seems like he don't have absolutely no smoke for liars. Matter of fact, he goes on Antarctica trips with them and runs scams with them. Jaren's words, not mine. Remember, Jaren said science is a scam when he basically excommunicated Nathan Oakley and QE and the rest of them. He said they were scammers because they said that science proved things. So according to Jaren, that's a scam. So these are not my words. I'm not making this stuff up. I didn't come up with this. So Will Duffy is perfectly okay hanging out with a scammer that's running a scam experiment, because science is basically a scam. Especially if you say it proves something. According to Jaren, not Red's Joe. So Will Duffy have absolutely no smoke for the scammer, Jaren, according to him. But he have all the smoke against his fellow Christian brother that's basically trying to bring up something about the Bible. Kind of weird coming from a pastor, right?
So do you understand now that just because I see the earth as a circle right here doesn't all of a sudden make it a circle? Because if it does, then you're a flat earther now, sir. Welcome to the team.
The outer perimeter of what you can see on that picture is objectively a circle.
I know what my eyes is seeing, but let me ask you a question. Do we live on a circle or a globe? Just pick one.
Globe.
What should I call it?
Call it whatever you want. Globe, sphere.
So
whatever.
then if I can call it whatever I want, then leave me alone for calling it a flat earth then, sir. Why don't y'all leave us alone if I can call it whatever I want then? Can you answer that one?
I care enough about people to point out when they're wrong about something in the present, about our current reality. And again,
Okay.
I don't think you can point to anything present day that shows we do not live on a globe.
Okay, so let me explain something to you. Let's just say, because you know everybody is out there calling flat earthers some religious cult, and I really don't like that term. But let's just cut the bull crap. Let's just say let's entertain that. All of our enemies are saying we're not scientific, we're just a religious cult. Let's entertain that. If we are a religious cult, Pastor Duffy, that's another reason you should quit antagonizing us, just like men that's trying to be women. You can't bully them based upon sexuality, religious beliefs. So when the world call us a religious cult, then they should treat us just like they treat the Church of Satan. You're a pastor. You care about people being wrong, right? There are people out there with satanic churches in America right now, sir. In the military, they are putting satanic churches in the Navy right now. You're a pastor for Christ, right? I'm going to tell you right now, most of these flat earthers, they love God, even though let's say they're wrong about the shape of the earth, Duffy. They ain't wrong about God. So you and these flat earthers got some in common. Y'all serve this. Hold on, let me just finish. Y'all serve the same God, but let's just say they failed science class. They're dummies, right? They didn't fail which God is right, and they still going to heaven. So if you care about people, don't worry about the people going to heaven. There's a lot of people out there that know the earth is a globe, and they right on their way to hell. It doesn't matter that they know the earth, or the shape of the earth ain't going to get you to in heaven, Pastor. You know that. So if you care about somebody, go and be a pastor and worry about the people that's on their way to hell. Because me believing that the earth is flat make me a dummy. It don't make me a demon, sir. And there are many dummies that go to heaven. You know why? We don't know everything, but all we need to know is that we need to love God, believe in God, and treat everybody right. And you don't even got to know the shape of the earth to do that, because my grandmother believed in a globe, and she was a better person than I am. I'm still working on myself. So I think pastors, because they're not scientists, we need them to spend their money and time on helping humanity become a moral collective, because right now the world going to hell, and it ain't because somebody said the earth flat. So I would argue with you, if you really care about people.
These are all facts. These is all facts. And this is, and again, Will is sitting here listening to this, and watch how he respond.
That you would prioritize your time and money to people that's on their way to hell.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. The quickest way to get someone to not listen to you and to not take you seriously is to tell them we live on a flat earth.
That's a stupid
It's to
argument.
tell them lying and deception is not inherently immoral.
It's not. So here's the deal. If we want to convince
He doubled
atheists
down on
that
it
God
again,
exists,
right?
We want to convince people that Jesus.
So he had doubled down on it again. And then nobody is going to come up to you and say, "Oh, is the earth flat, or is the earth a globe? Oh, you believe the earth is flat? Oh, I don't care about you being a pastor." Nobody's coming to nope. When they coming to a pastor, they coming to the pastor to hear the Bible preached. They coming to the pastor to hear someone basically preach the gospel. They're not coming to you to basically talk about whether or not the earth is a globe or whether or not the earth is flat. That is a ridiculous statement to make. And that is a ridiculous standard to have. And then also, that is a poison the well fallacy, period. And it's nonsense. And it's very hypocritical, and it's very nonsensical, because a pastor should not be saying that, and the pastor should not be even concerned with that. Now, you basically trying to be a YouTuber and a glober or a flat earth debunker. That should be a hobby, not a freaking full-time job. Your responsibility is to be a preacher.
Jesus Christ died for our sins and was resurrected. The way to do that is to not be wrong on something like the shape of the earth.
I disagree, because I'm going to tell you right now, Pastor, if you are a pastor and you can't get someone's soul to heaven without talking to them about the shape of the earth, you're a horrible pastor. Because I'm going to tell you just my opinion now. I'm from the Bible Belt. I've seen pastors turn murderers into good men. I've seen pastors turn crackheads into clean people without talking nothing about the shape of the earth. In fact, if you go up in my pastor church talking about a flat earth and globe earth debate, they'll say, get that divisive stuff up out of here. I'm here to save souls, people dealing with fentanyl addictions, young people taking antidepressants every day. Young girls only know how to twerk and see their self-worth.
These all facts. Ain't nothing else to say about that. These all facts. These facts. There's flat earth and globe. That discussion shouldn't even be a concern for a pastor. Sanchez cooking right now.
In their body, that's the kind of stuff, if you ask me, that you should, because what you just said is baloney from a pastor. If a pastor got to debate everybody about the shape of the earth before they bring them to Christ, that's a horrible pastor. Most pastors that I know that's real about the Bible, they don't even care about the shape of the earth. They're saying, guess what they're saying? We don't even care about the shape of the earth. We care about the condition of the human. And you can do one without worrying about the other, because people that go to therapy, they therapists don't gotta debate them on the shape of the earth to help them get over their depression, to help them get over their frustration. If every Christian that come to you, you gotta ask them, are you a flat earther, and have a debate with them on that, then I think you're doing a horrible job as a minister, because people have so much other bigger stuff. I'm a flat earther and I got bigger stuff going on in my life than the shape of the earth. I got all kind of drama in my life and stuff besides just debating people about the shape of the earth that a pastor can help me in versus debating me on my cosmological ideology. If I go to a pastor and I say, Pastor, I'm really hurt, man. My mama's suffering. I almost want to give up on life. And he say, but wait a minute, before I help you, I need to know if you're a flat earther or a globe earther so we can.
Yeah, these are facts. And this is testimony. Some that pastors should be interested in, some that a pastor should be interested in to listen to. So Will Duffy hand wave and dismiss this. Not only that he's not a pastor, he's demonstrating that already. But he's a horrible person.
Debate. I'm going to walk out of that pastor's church and I'm going to go to the pastor that's just concerned with the shape of my heart, the shape of my soul. You know, he can ask me about that, all of that later. But if you saying you can't help my spirit until you debate me about the shape of the earth, then I'm going to have to disagree with you. And, sir, I'm going to just have to let you have your stance on that. That's horrible if you ask me.
Yeah, that's not what I said. So let me read.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. He said, no one's going to take you serious if you believe that the earth is flat. So that's exactly what you said. As if people is going to come up to you and ask you whether or not you believe that the earth is flat. People don't care about that. People ain't coming to church. They hear people talk about flat earth and globe. They don't care about that.
So that's what I get from what you said.
Let me restate it. As soon as someone knows you believe the earth is flat, they're not going to take anything.
And then he just doubled down on what he said. That's not what I said. And then he just repeat exactly what he just said. That's exactly what you just said. You said if someone basically know that you believe in the earth is flat, like how is somebody going to know that? But if someone going to come to you as a pastor and ask you anything, soon they're not going to take you serious because you believe that the earth is flat. That's not your concern. Your concern is to preach the gospel. And nobody is going to come to you and be like, do you believe the earth is flat, and debate you about it and decide whether or not they're going to come to your church. That's ridiculous. You just been talking to too many idiots.
You say seriously. So if we want to be
That's
successful
false.
in convincing people
That's
that God
false.
is real and that Jesus rose from the dead, we can't have a belief like the earth is flat, which is objectively false.
But you got to believe
People
that Jesus
take me
rose from the
serious
dead.
every day, sir. There are several people that subscribe to my channel, Pastor Duffy. They say, Sanchez, as a poet, you really inspire me. You motivate me. You help me through depression. But I don't agree with you with the shape of the earth. So this is how a human mind works, Pastor, because apparently you don't really understand how it works. A human mind will take a car mechanic serious on car things, but the human mind won't take the car mechanic serious on brain surgery. Now, the human mind will take a brain surgeon serious on brain surgery, but the human mind won't take the brain surgeon serious on car mechanics. So everything in our world is compartmentalized. And just say I'm wrong about the shape of the earth. I'm not wrong when I tell a person they need to go to God and not follow devil. So the fact that you got more smoke for me than the Church of Satan make me think that you're part of the problem, sir, because you're saying I need to spend my time battling some people on the shape of the earth who no one even takes serious. So why you're taking them serious? If according to you, no one takes flat earth serious, then you wasting your time, man. You're wasting your time with a small group of low-life bum morons, right? That no one even takes serious, but people take the church.
All facts, man. I mean, I already said all this stuff earlier, right? All facts, though. I mean, according to Will Duffy, we supposed to ignore, as a pastor, you supposed to ignore morality, period, and just talk about earth, worldly things. He's taken his YouTube channel, which is just basically debunking flat earth. He's taken that more serious. He hold that at a higher priority than him being a pastor in a church where he have direct responsibility of the people there. Is this to make so what you gonna take those people's salvation that they looking up to you for? You're going to put that on the side, drag them along your little flat earth war that you about to have. Something that had absolutely nothing to do with their salvation at all. It's not spiritual. It's not anything. It's only dealing with the physical and natural world. Because you want to look cool on YouTube. Because all the Globers were saying, hooray, we got a pastor on our side. But you got a whole church that's looking up to you, and they hold you in high regard because they gave you the responsibility by coming to your church to preach the gospel to them. So their praises wasn't enough. You need the praises of the world. That's more important. Not the people that hold you in high regard based on their salvation. Whether or not the earth is flat and whether or not the earth is a globe, that is inconsequential to everybody walking around in society. But these people that goes to your church, they believe that they believe in their salvation. Their eternal life is at hand. And they look to you as a leader, as the man that is following the man and his teachings and his law. But you saying, oh, well, the law don't mean anything. And this is not important. Me battling these flat earthers who is also Christians as well. That's important. Calling them bums, calling them broke, calling them liars, calling them all types of names, calling them stupid. That's more important than preaching the gospel and giving people grace. This is the reason why nobody in this community like Will Duffy. It don't have nothing to do with the final experiment. They don't like Will Duffy because of Will Duffy.
Church of Satan serious. People take these gangster rappers serious. You got young kids pledging in gangs and they taking this gang stuff serious. They taking drug use serious. But according to you, ain't nobody taking flat earthers serious. So you're wasting your time no matter how you try to cut this, Pastor. And you keep rewording yourself over and over.
What I did is I started by focusing on individuals, and I realized that wasn't going to be a valuable use of my time. So I decided to just end the whole.
So you started with individuals preaching the gospel, but I guess who is these individuals? He's being very vague, and when he's talking, this is how you know you're talking to a liar. This is how you know you're talking to either a liar or somebody that don't know what the hell they talking about, because they being very vague. He's being very vague in his discussion. Oh, well, I started with individuals. What individuals? And what was you doing with these individuals? He can't be specific, right? He can't be that way Because he's lying. Because he's either lying. Because remember, lying is not wrong. So he's either lying, right? Or he don't know what the hell he's talking about. That could be something too. Or it could be freaking both. And since this liar right here think it's not wrong, we don't have no choice but to guess what the hell he's talking about. Who is these individuals? We don't got to know the who, but what the hell was you even talking about with these individuals? Are you talking about you was preaching the gospel with these individuals and somehow it wasn't working, even though all these other pastors was preaching the gospel? I guess you just suck as a pastor. So because you suck as a pastor, you decided to become a globe YouTuber, something that anybody can do. Of course, it's easy because the other side of the argument is being censored on that very thing. So of course, you're going to grift off of people that can't have their word actually heard. Such a deceitful, despiteful thing to do as a pastor. These people being taken advantage of, they're being basically shadow banned and censored on a particular platform that they are on, and you only hearing their debunkers. You're only hearing the other side of the people that's making fun of them and mocking them all the time. Then the very person that is the main cause of the mockery, you go grab him and be a part of some type of hit piece, allow him to contradict himself and be a double speaker and a liar with you. Then you go grab another known liar, two patsies, and then you go grab an innocent woman that had absolutely nothing to really honestly even do with this. She's on an audio app. She had absolutely nothing to do with this. Drag her with y'all when you could have picked another flat earther that's a real flat earther. But no flat earthers would even go because they told you from the very beginning the flaw in the so-called experiment. Told you from the very beginning and explained to you very politely something that one of the liars should have told you that went with you. That is not an experiment. It's an affirming the consequence fallacy. There is no logical syllogism to it. It is not even inductive reasoning because it's in a fallacy. The only way that you can prove or whether or not the earth has the shape of a spear is with geometry and mathematics, not an observation in the sky in a conceptual model. Again, this is why nobody like Will Duffy.
So I ended Flat Earth.
And everything that I'm saying is all facts. It's not opinions. Everything I'm saying about Jaren is a fact. We could go back and look at Jaren's videos. And don't be a lame and look at the other side. Look at their videos. It's not like, oh, well, Nathan Oakley and who else been talking about Jaren? Because it's not like it's only Nathan Oakley. It's not like it's only QE. It's more than just them talking about Jaren. It's not like all of these people in the community. It's not like they're like, well, yeah, you know, he's a bad guy because I don't like him, and he a D head. He's a dummy because of this, or he's a deceiver because of this. No, all of that came from somewhere. But that's the guy you go get. Then you call the other guys that's against him because he the one that created the division in the first place by calling people scammers and liars and all that. Then come to find out he goes and he do the lying. He do the deceptive thing. For 3 years, Jaren said everybody that said that science absolutely proved things and said that science uses deductive reasoning, everybody that actually spoke like that was retards and scammers. All of that mute button stuff, that stuff ain't even come until he actually had a live discussion with the man, which is Nathan Oakley. And Jaren couldn't figure out a way to basically debunk that science absolutely proved things with deductive reasoning and the law of non-contradiction. It's the complete opposite of an affirming a consequence fallacy. Because Jaron was trying to introduce affirming a consequence fallacy. That's why he had to get rid of science in the first place. Now he takes that same affirming a consequence fallacy, then used the validity of science with Will Duffy, the so-called rich pastor, go do a final experiment so he could go on the globe side because he know that the flat earth side is being shadow banned. But you can make money off the flat earth and you can get views off the flat earth if you just join the globe side. Now that's appeal to motivation on my part. But I would stand on that because I could see it clear as day. If I was a liar and a deceiver and all I cared about was views and money and being popular, I would do that as well. If I didn't have any moral code, right, then I would do that as well. Hey, it's more. Hey, I could get more view. Hey, this guy right here, he just became a glober. Talking about Planet Peterson. He just started making videos. Soon as he started debunking flat Earth, because you won't see no flat Earth video because flat Earth is already being mocked all over the world. People is going to gravitate towards my video because you're going to see my video over the person that I'm actually making the video about. That's why I say I agree with Brian Logic. He was right. Why is we paying any of these guys any attention? These guys are clowns. There's no reason to have any discussion with these guys anymore. They're nothing but parasites. Because that's what it is. You need me and my content in order for you to get views. Because you are not original enough to come up with your own content. And all these guys think they funny. They're not. Because if they were funny, there will be actual comedians with their channel. There will actually be the Kai Connects. There will actually be the Speeds. These are kids. There'll actually be the Pootie Pies. There'll actually be the KSIs. If they had talent. But they don't got talent. And they're not funny. So they need to grift off of other people that are making content. So why should we even pay these guys any attention? They're not paying us no attention. I don't remember Craig or Mattoon giving anybody no flat earther no money after all the money he made off of them. These are facts. They don't even check this out. Nathan Oakley have a show, a flat earth debate show, pretty much every day. How many times did these losers come on that show? I mean, they making all types of money off of him anyway. You would think as much money as they make off of their content, you would think they will always be on that show. At least they will all be making money together. But they are so spiteful. They like, well, I'm gonna make money off of him, but I'm not gonna allow him to make money off of me. Clown, right? So why should a flat earther go on a damn debate channel like Modern Day Debate and even give these guys any time of day? They don't like you. They're not supporting your channel. You shouldn't even need Modern Day Debate. Let's just be real. You shouldn't even need a channel that's like in between, like a Modern Day Debate, when both parties have their own debate channels. We should be able to go on both debate channels, have a respectable debate. Shouldn't be 4 or 5 hours long. It should only be like 1 or 2 hours. It's literally an objective topic. It's not a subjective topic. It's an objective topic. It should be whether or not the earth is flat or the earth is a globe. It's a geometry question. Which in geometry, what do it supports more? Flat or globe? Can you have do you have measurement of a sphere or of it being a spheroid, or do the measurements point more of it being flat? That's simple. Then you should be able to go on about your day, make your content, I make my content. Do that happen? Have that ever been suggested? No. What happens? YouTube shadow ban a whole side of the argument, and these clowns decide that they're going to take advantage of that because they know their videos is going to be the first thing you see whenever you type in flat earth on Google, YouTube, and everything else. Do they say, oh, well, go on to his channel, go to this video. Hey, I'm going to go over there today. I'm going to do a debate with him, or I'm going to go over there today and have a discussion with him. That way, that algorithmic love will go to the person channel that you actually making money off of, which is the flat earther. Do they do that? Have you ever seen Mattoon do that? No. What do Mattoon do? He calls on the channel and get the trolling. Then get the screaming in the snow like an idiot. That ain't the first time Mattoon wilded out like that neither. What do Craig do? Craig sit up here and don't even go on. He wants you to come to his channel, but he won't go on yours. He won't bring his people to you. Now he'll go somewhere like Modern Day Debate, Globers. He'll go to Jaren, Globers. These people are clowns. They're parasites. Flat out. At least people that do reaction videos, at least they point out the video that they're reacting to. Most of those reacting guys on YouTube, they react with each other and they do collabs with each other. Even when they arguing and beefing and fighting, they make content with one another. That's why they be like, oh, well, that's staged. But most of the time, it don't be staged. They just have enough. They just have enough dignity to be like, oh, well, I'm making money off this guy video, so I'm gonna at least let him do the same with me. This common courtesy. Only a loser is going to sit up here and try to take advantage of somebody. And that's what these guys are. Losers. And now this pastor also want to be a loser. That's why I called the other guy that I reacted to, I called him a lame. And I think he always have been a lame. I guarantee if I look at his history, he always been a loser. He always been a lame. And he wasn't oh, I was a lame because I was so smart because I was a nerd. No, you are a lame because you are a lame. You are a loser because you are a loser because you are a horrible person. We got to stop congratulating and we got to stop giving gifts, giving blessings and giving grace and congratulating losers. We need to start letting them be losers. If they doing scummy things, we need to treat them as scum. Brian Logic was right about that. Why should I waste my time when you're making money off of me and come there and have a 3-hour discussion with you so this channel could get super chats or you could get super chats, but I'm not getting paid. I'm doing it for free so I could get these losers that's not going to come to my channel anyway to try to convince them to come to my channel. They're not coming anyway. They only here to laugh at me and I'm not going to get paid for it. No.
So for those of you who are,
and that just lets you, and that's one other thing, that just lets you know something about Jaren, because he want to go on that side now.
willing to see it and admit it and acknowledge it, I have freed you from a future life of wasting your time on something that is false.
You free what? Waste of what time? What is you talking about?
And I think I did everybody a huge favor with that.
You did who a favor, bro? You ain't do nothing but take a trip to Antarctica and did a affirmative consequence fallacy. That's it. Who did you do a favor? Did you take all the flat earthers to Antarctica? No. You only took 3 people. You took 3 people and a bunch of Globers.
But you didn't succeed at that because you got a bunch of flat earthers now. They're still flat earthers, sir, including me. So I will tell you this. In your mind, you succeeded. But I'm going to tell you what happened. What really happened, what you succeeded at doing, was convincing globe earthers who already thought that they were on a globe earth that they were indeed right. And the flat earthers didn't do nothing but realize, hey man, it's just gonna be harder now to get a person to open their mind and look into what the ancestors was teaching.
Well, it's not going to be harder for it's not going to be harder for anybody, not no real flat earthers, because we got the real arguments. That's just a fact. So it's not going to be harder for anybody. A religious zealot like a glober is always going to be most likely a religious zealot like a glober. So it's not going to be harder. I mean, some people you're going to get to understand this, or some people who's not going to understand it. Most people is not going to understand it anyway. Or most people is not even going to listen to you. Period. Like Will Duffy said, most people is not going to listen to you. Why? Because they're not into the topic. Most people is not running around in the streets sitting up here talking about flat earth globe all day.
So I'll give you that. You made it harder for new globe earthers to discover flat earth. I'll give you if that's what you want props. Well, no problem. I ain't gonna hate on you for that. But if you think that you got like you destroyed the flat earth community, man, we here alive, well, and strong. Don't you know most flat earthers are still flat earthers today? So what I will say you did though, you divided the church up, because you got Christian flat earthers and you got globe flat earthers. And the globe flat earthers and the Christian flat earthers both agree that we need to bring souls to Christ. Now, you got them fighting each other on the shape of the earth versus winning souls in these end of days, Pastor.
These are facts.
Because I'm going to tell you something, Pastor. People in my hood as a black man, they don't care about science or the shape of the earth. They care about stealing. If you try to talk to them about the shape of the earth, they'll laugh at you. They don't care about science.
This is facts. These are facts. And it's not just the hood. Most people, when they talking to a pastor, is not worried about no shape of the earth. And I don't know why he's keep trying to play like this is something like this is his one of his sermons or something. When he's trying to play like this is part of his gospel. He's talking nonsense. Now, it's part of the heliocentric gospel. But it have absolutely no bearings or no consequence to the Christian gospel. I don't know why he's trying to play like this is part of his sermons. Like, is you actually in your church preaching a heliocentric globe or something? And then you having that take precedence over the actual gospel? That don't even make no sense, bro. That's taking precedent over Jesus dying on the cross for our sins in order for us to have eternal salvation, to be closer to God. That makes absolutely no sense, bro.
They care about gangbanging. They care about sinning, lying, deceiving, and all that kind of stuff. So the pastors in the world right now got their work cut out for them. And so if you running around debating people that folks don't even take serious, you wasting your time, man. You need to be bringing souls to Christ. And you got Christians who...
And remember, Will Duffy responded with him saying that he thought his time was wasted when he was talking to individuals. I don't know what he was talking to the individuals about. So, because that could be anything. That could be he was talking to the individuals about flat earth, or he was talking to the individuals, or I mean, what was he talking to the individuals about? But the point is that he was saying that his time was wasted, so he gave it up. But he gave it up to start talking about flat earth. He gave it up to talk about the flat earth. So did you give up your ministry to be a flat earth debunker? But we supposed to take you. Wait a minute. Why should we take you calling yourself a pastor serious when you basically telling us right now that you gave up your ministry to become a YouTube flat earth debunker, and you get spending $500-something thousand to debunk the flat earth? And you're going to go on and do more experiments, you say. So this is going to be a continuous. I thought the experiment was supposed to be final, but we talking to a liar. So of course it's not final. So everything that you say got to be the opposite. We can't trust anything that come out of your mouth. So why should we trust anything that you did in Antarctica? That's the point. Did you even go to Antarctica? Because you a liar, Wit's a liar, and Jaren's a liar. It seems like none of you guys have a problem with lying. So what is we doing? But the point of the matter is, and this is the main point, he basically said that, I was trying to talk to individuals, and then I had to give it up because I just seen that this flat earth thing. What are you talking about? How many flat earthers is in Denver, Colorado? How many of them you ran across? Be honest. And since y'all love probability, what is more probable to be true? Will Duffy talked to people like Mattoon, and he's seen that people like Mattoon is taking advantage of the YouTube algorithm of the flat earth being shadow banned, and his channel is starting to get higher subscribers. Will Duffy, being a very rich man, is going to come up, talk to them, is going to come up with some type of experiment or come up with some type of expedition, right? Instead of coming up with seminars and things of that nature, he's going to come up with some type of expedition where all their attention could be on him, and he could get a YouTube channel and get those same subscribers, probably even more, because he got money to back up what he's doing. So this is a money play. So he can make more money on YouTube. He can make more money with this experiment, with this so-called experiment. He can make more money. He could get more notoriety, more attention, more fame from the world, right? Versus him basically just being in the ministry in some church somewhere, and he still got to pretty much work the job, whatever job that he had, or do whatever he had to do. Versus that. So he gave up his ministry to get all the fame, get all the subscribers, go on the expedition, get money for that. A money play, and money and fame. Is that more likely to be true? Or is it more likely to be true that Will Duffy cared about humanity, and somehow humanity gonna all become flat earthers one day, and he's the savior, and he just felt that it's so it's something that God put in his heart to go out and basically debunk the flat earth for the betterment of humanity. And this is all charity. Which one is more likely to be true? Right? I think it's the second one. I think it's the first thing that I said, actually. Well, I don't know. Maybe Will Duffy is a wonderful guy. I don't know. Maybe,
Believe in a flat earth and a globe earth, but they both believe that these souls is on their way to hell. And you don't want to divide them when their mission is to bring people to God, because God don't care if you know the earth flat or not. And again, if you can't bring a soul to God without debating them on the shape of the earth, you're a failure as a pastor. Because why? You just said flat earthers, people don't even take them serious. So if you can't bring a soul to Christ without debating a group of people that don't nobody even care about, that's crazy, because the average person in this world, they don't care about this debate. I'm serious. They care about making money every day and trying to get ahead in life. And they're depressed, and they're on all kind of antidepressants. And if you walk up to them talking about the shape of the earth, they will say, Pastor, with all due respect, I don't care about the shape of the earth. Whether it's flat or round, I'm catching hell. I get that every day. I get that every day. The number one thing that flat earthers get is, who cares, man? I'm struggling in life. So
all facts.
if you know, and that's my thing is if as a pastor, that would be a better approach to say, you know what?
Usually I would criticize somebody that's monologuing, but he is talking to a pastor. I mean, these are Christians. So this is how they're supposed to talk to one another. They're supposed to give each other their testimonies. But usually I would be getting on somebody for monologuing, but they're Christians. This is how they're supposed to be speaking.
What? Forget the shape of the earth, both sides. What's the shape of your spirit? Because Christ's on his way back, and he don't care if you know the shape of the earth. Now, if you disagree with that as a pastor, I don't mind us agreeing to disagree. My heart is still full of love for you, Pastor Duffy, and we ain't going to always agree on everything. But I hope that you find your way in God and, you know, be the pastor that he wants you to be. Anything you want to say to what I just said?
I appreciate that. I am hearing on a weekly basis of people who are leaving Flat Earth. So they're leaving Flat Earth in very large numbers, and it's only going to continue because we're continuing to release all the information and the data and the experiments that we did while we were in Antarctica and Chile. And so I'm very encouraged.
So he's literally just there to basically promote. He's literally there not to have the discussion about the Bible, not to have the discussion of whether or not lying is okay in the scriptures. He's there to basically still have a debate about the flat earth. Like, because what is the purpose of even saying, well, more people is leaving the flat earth and more people is doing this and more people, what does that have to do with the discussion that we having right now? This had absolutely nothing to do with that. Matter of fact, I told you we could talk about this another time. What is the purpose of you talking about this right now? I don't care. I'm still a flat earther. So I'm supposed to leave because everybody else leaving? That's just an appeal to majority fallacy. No one cares who's leaving. Whoever's leaving, they probably was never a flat earther in the first place. They were just looking into the topic. The only one that's basically what you say, Jaron?
I think this is a step in the right direction. And I do agree with you. Despite our disagreement on this, we agree on other things, and I'm thankful for that.
And one thing I'll say about you being concerned with people leaving flat earth, Pastor Duffy, you are familiar with the great apostasy. The Bible talks about many Christians that's going to leave and turn away from God in the end of days. So, like I said, you are focusing on people leaving flat earth, which is a group of people that's less than 1% of the earth, and ain't nobody taking them serious. But everyone's taking the Antichrist and a false prophet serious in the world at this time. And according to the Bible, it don't say that the church gonna fall away because of these small group of tinfoil hatters that everyone laughing at. It say the church gonna fall away for wickedness. And if you look at what's going on in the world right now, that's what's going on in the world. It ain't because flat earth, it's because the devil. Now, the thing is...
Amen. These are all facts. This debate pretty much over right now because Will Duffy really don't have no response to any of this. That's what's crazy about this. He has absolutely no response to none of this. I think you need to talk to Bible U.
You're going to always have groups of people wrong about stuff. And I don't think I'm wrong as a flat earther, but I'm just entertaining you, right? You're going to always have people wrong about stuff. Just like during the pandemic, you had health experts debating on whether or not the jab was even something we should get or not. And they both got degrees. People not always going to agree on scientific things. But as a pastor...
And you know what's funny about this? Brother Sanchez is not like a traditional, not even really a Christian, honestly. And if he is, he just became one. Because Brother Sanchez is the main guy that's basically coming up with the Bible contradictions and all of that. So for Brother Sanchez to be talking to Pastor Will Duffy, somebody that's actually supposed to be a Christian, for him to be acting more Christian-like than him is ridiculous. Because you would think that Brother Sanchez will be the one that's trying to basically turn this into a flat earth debate and be the one leading away from the Bible. Because Brother Sanchez, for the longest time, been trying to debunk the Bible. So it's kind of silly right now. It's kind of a little bit suspicious, or at this point, I mean, blatantly obvious that the so-called pastor is trying to lead the conversation, have been running away from the conversation about the scriptures and about the gospel, period, and just basically been focusing on worldly things like the shape of the earth.
That doesn't concern you. As a pastor, you only need them agree on that there's a God, and that if you don't follow that God, there's a place for your soul, right? So my thing is, you're worrying about people leaving a group of people that's less than 1% versus most of the world leaving and turning away from God right now, sir.
Yeah, I've done my part. I'm happy, and I am going to move on to bigger and better things. So.
I'm going to clap it up for that, because guess what? I will say that the final experiment did a lot of damage to Flat Earth, but it did
No,
not
I haven't.
debunk it. Right? You can do damage to a group without debunking that group, and if you don't debunk that group will still live. It still will stand. And until you legitimately, and I'm going to say this, you sat down here with me and you gave me a legit bill, I think that this conversation should win you more respect from flat earthers based upon the fact.
No, it actually did a complete opposite. Because now we don't respect him as a pastor anymore. He said it's okay to lie. He led the conversation away from the Bible every chance he got. So yeah, it did the complete opposite. I don't see how he can even get away from this now. I mean, or it's just me. But I mean, I think everybody's opinion still stand. And I was one of the only people that was like, well, you know what, he's a pastor, so I mean, we got to give it to him. I mean, he's probably apologetic in a I went to play basketball in a Catholic school, so I know what they teach. So I'm like, oh yeah, he probably a pastor. He probably, apologize. They teach the globe. I mean, they literally teach the globe. They teach the history of the globe. They teach how is the globe, like all that. You learn all of that in Catholic school. Now, of course, I only went to play basketball. I went to play sports. So I'm giving him the pass. But now, when you put pastor in front of that, okay, well, he fully into the doctrine. But of course, even the Catholics know that you take God's law over natural law. Even when someone wants to speak about the Bible, you keep the topic to the Bible, because that's your main goal as the pastor. You don't sit up here and sit the Bible or sit the words of God aside or contradict the word of God. Even if somebody holds you to account or accuse you of contradicting the word of God in such a manner of saying that lying and deceiving is okay, and then you say, oh, well, you know what, that ain't what I meant, but that is what I meant, and then I'm gonna go ahead and talk about flat earth now, then you're not a pastor, because you should be making things very clear of what you're saying, especially when you got people following you, because you have a church. But then you basically saying, well, I gave up the ministry somehow, or you gave up talking to individuals, whatever that means. So now we got to figure out, what did you mean when you said you had to stop talking to individuals? What did that mean? Or is that a lie?
That you've been calm, you've been respectful. You don't agree with what I'm saying, everything, but it shows we can have these dialogues. But I do think this conversation can bring a lot of theological questions. I always wondered, when God come to the earth, how was every eye gonna see God on the globe without God being some sort of magician, abracadabra? Because I like to see God as a scientist versus a magician. And if God is a scientist and an architect, he actually built in the earth's design how he would come back and every eye will be able to see him, and that would be the flat earth conception. So I would always wonder how that would work on a globe. Maybe as a pastor, man, you can tackle that one together.
Yeah, I do have to catch my flight.
Pastor, I'll talk your ear off. I'm a talker. So, but I thank you for coming. It was a treat. I wanted.
All right, that's the debate. It's over, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, we all seen it. It's probably like maybe some of you guys' third time seeing this. But yeah, Will Duffy, and this is my conclusion. This is my personal conclusion. Will Duffy is a fake Christian, bro. Well, and if he is a Christian, he's the type of Christian that basically said, I'm going to put put the gospel aside. I'm going to set that aside because that is not a priority, which means God is not a priority. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to only promote the worldly heliocentric model, which is also a religion. Now, we all know in the Bible it says you cannot serve two masters. Now that's in the Old and New Testament. So you can't be worldly and then serve the world, and then serve God as well. You got to serve one of the two. If you're going to be of the world or you're going to be of God, period. And we already seen Will Duffy just demonstrated to us, and it seems like he just explained to us. But he definitely demonstrated to us that he only wanted to talk about the flat earth. That's the only time that he jumps in these little discussions. Whenever somebody's talking about the flat earth, he's quick to jump in the discussion. I have yet to see Will Duffy jump in the discussion so fast when somebody calling him out on Bible matters. Every time somebody call him out on Bible matter, he don't want to talk about it. He always want to just talk about flat earth again. Something that pastors really shouldn't even be concerned with. So he's willing to talk about something that's of the world because it's giving him popularity instead of talk about the scriptures. Maybe because he don't believe in the scriptures. So he's willing to put his salvation aside for the world, and he demonstrated that for us today. Then he told us he used to basically, I don't know if he preached to individuals or he was talking about the flat earth to the individuals, but whatever he said he was doing, it seems like he was saying, I tried, but I had to stop doing it because I wanted to talk about this flat earth stuff, and I wanted to start a YouTube channel, and I wanted to go to Antarctica so I could get all the fame, and I could take advantage of the algorithm on YouTube, and I could get all my subscribers up. All of those things are worldly. And now he hold that in high regard and in a higher priority than him preaching the gospel in the church. As a matter of fact, he's shown that blatant disrespect by even having the TFE logo in his church. While he's preaching a sermon saying that is giving the impression that it's okay to lie. It's not inherently wrong when the law is inherent by God to us. And it says in the law to not be deceitful, do not be deceitful, do not bear false witness, which means don't lie. Don't be manipulative. But he's saying that that's not inherently wrong, even though that law is inherent by God himself. So God inheritance is not worth anything, according to the pastor. So he's even willing to set the law aside in order for him to promote the debunking of flat earth. I guess that's how I should say it. Why he's willing to do that? What is his motivations for that? That's quite obvious too. For fame, for subscribers, for cheerleaders. Because the people in his church who rely on him for their salvation, that's not good enough for Will Duffy. His brothers in Christ is not good enough for him. He need the world in YouTube. He need the worldly, carnal-minded people in YouTube to praise him. That's what he needs. He need them to give him the pat on the back. Remember, he said he had to give up a ministry, whatever ministry it was. He had to give up the ministry in his church. Sacrifice that for the world. So he sacrificed the praise from God and his brethren in Christ in exchange for the world on YouTube. A bunch of YouTubers, bunch of lowlifes a bunch of lowlives, a bunch of losers that's taking advantage of an algorithm system, which is deceptive. But remember, lying is okay to Will Duffy. It's perfectly fine to Will Duffy. As a matter of fact, the only flat earthers that he was talking to are no liars, and say it's absolutely okay. Nathan Oakley basically asked Whitsitt to tell Jaren to do that retraction. Whitsitt said he was Jaren's and Dave Wise representative that day. Whitsitt said, "Oh, well, I'm going to get him to retract that statement of calling you a scammer." After that day with Jaren made like 3 videos calling Nathan Oakley a scammer. He doubled down on the scam. And he definitely said it was because of science. Doubled down on it, actually. And still say it. Matter of fact, not only he doubled down on calling him a scammer, he doubled down on everybody that actually say it. They are scammers. Every time somebody bring it up, Jaren got to basically say, "You a scammer. You got that from that scammer Nathan Oakley. Y'all scammers." He don't say Nathan Oakley the scammer anymore. He say y'all scammers. Matter of fact, when Whitsitt was talking to Flatzoid, he said, "Yeah, you guys on FED, you guys are so retarded." He's talking about all of us. Everybody that's on there, we retarded. Why should we pay these guys any more attention, bro? We are scammers and liars because we say science actually proves things with deductive reasoning and the law of non-contradiction and the identification law. We're scammers for that. But yet, and because science absolutely don't prove things, right? But yet, they go to the pastor, the guy that says it's okay to lie in the Bible. They go to him and go all the way to Antarctica to do this so-called experiment that's definitely going to prove that the earth is not flat. Because that experiment, which is supposed to be science, is going to prove that the earth is not flat. Even though they just called all of us scammers and told all of us that we are retarded for saying that. But it was okay for them to use science to prove something. Who's double speaking now? Who's the scammer now? So it's only a scammer when we say it? Oh, it's not a scam. It's not a scam now because the pastor said it. But the pastor said it's okay to lie. Matter of fact, when Whitsitt said he was going to get Jaren to basically retract that, did he? No, he doubled down on it. So is Whitsitt is just truth teller now? Do you think Whitsitt went to Jaren and said, "Man, hey man, you really should retract that, man. You can't call the guy a scammer for basically saying that science absolutely proves things and validate things. It is evidence and it is proof because it's deductive reasoning. You think you should retract that, man? You're going a little bit too far." It is kind of like hurting his channel. He is we both supposed to be flat earthers. Think Whitsitt had that conversation? I mean, he do personally talk to Jaren, remember? Both of them. Oh, you think this Whitsitt just say, "Man, he just totally muted me. He's retarded," like he say every time he talk to one of us. But he gave Nathan Oakley his word that he was going to talk to Jaren and get Jaren to basically retract what he said. Jaren doubled down on it. He still say it to this day. even though Jaren ran the same scam on the community. So is it a scam or is it not? Because if it's a scam when Nathan Oakley did it, why when you do it, it's not a scam? You see how liars got to go back and forth? It's double speaking. Just like Will Duffy, his whole life is a double speak. His whole life is being hypocritical. Because he claimed to be a pastor, a man of God, and he have people that's following him in church, and they are following him. And he said he giving up his ministry to basically be a freaking Glober. Well, Glober is a man of the world. It's inconsequential to God and salvation, period. So therefore, a pastor should not even be concerned with that. A pastor should be concerned with basically the people in their church salvation. That should be his first responsibility. God should come first in all matters. That's what it says in the scriptures. But I guess according to Will Duffy, it's just poetic. Do that sound like a pastor? Or do it sound like a hypocrite? The very same thing that when the Messiah was walking the earth plane was basically calling all the Pharisees a bunch of hypocrites, like Will Duffy, something that was already prophesied in those same scriptures. Maybe that's why Will Duffy don't like it. Oh, now he's calling me the devil. Not saying you're calling you the devil, but it seems like you cool with what the devil does. Hey, man. Yeah, man. I think that told a lot. I think it told a lot for me today. It opened my eyes now that I look at it for maybe like the third time. The first two times I looked at it, I ain't really paying no mind. But now that I actually listened to what Will Duffy was saying, because the first time I only really listened to what Brother Sanchez was saying, because Brother Sanchez was monologuing a lot, but he's giving his testimony. Now, whether you believe he's a real Christian or not, it doesn't matter. A brother still had a right to give his testimony. That's just how he is. And I don't agree with really honestly nothing Brother Sanchez absolutely say about the Bible, scriptures, or anything, honestly. But the brother is correct, and the pastor should be preaching the gospel. That should come first in all manners. Anything in the physical or natural world, that's dealing with natural law. That's the category in that. But it's God, then you. Now in the church, the pastor, the preacher is the man. And he is the man that everybody is looking to. Now, if they see this man basically being worldly, then what that say about the church? I think the congregation should kick Will Duffy out. If I was part of that congregation and I seen Will Duffy come in there, sitting up here, talking about an experiment to debunk flat earthers, I would be kicking him out. First off, your main concern should be preaching the gospel in that church in there, not sitting up here talking nonsense with flat earthers. Let the scientists deal with that. You not a scientist. You absolutely know nothing about that topic whatsoever. Oh, well, this guy Mattel, he told me so much about it. Well, let him deal with it. We got people to preach the gospel to. That's a physical matter. It seems like you care more about what the world says about you than what going to heaven, I guess. Than being in the presence of the Lord. But it's crazy that I'm talking like that. And Brother Sanchez, who have been trying to debunk the Bible for maybe like 10 years, maybe more than that. He's talking like that. But the so-called pastor is sitting up here talking about physical matters and trying to change the subject. I'm not going to keep going over that. I know y'all tired of hearing that. But that is crazy. But this is why nobody in this community like Will Duffy. We all just seen it right now, and anybody that watched this video, and anybody that have anybody that basically say, why do all the flat earthers don't like Will Duffy? And if the flat earthers actually take my advice that I'm actually accepting from Brian Logic and not pay these fools no attention anymore, and everybody in the whole world would go, well, no flat earthers want to talk to Globers anymore. I guess they scared. No, flat earthers just don't respect these guys no more. It have nothing to do with this experiment. It's really just his character. And he admit to being a liar and a deceiver. And it ain't that he's basically saying it. He's showing it. He's showing to be deceitful. Showing to be a deceiver. He's showing to be a hypocrite. So once you show me you a hypocrite, why should I even take anything you say and anything you do serious? You're not trustworthy. You're a pastor being worldly, number one, which is the biggest hypocrisy of all. How a man of God, a man of morals, or a man of morality, right? A man that's supposed to be of discipline, cannot even discipline himself to be in the actual category that he's supposed to be in, to preach the gospel and focus on the thing that he's supposed to be focused on, which is his people's salvation, which is the people that follow him salvation. Why should we take a man like that serious? And why should we have any likeness of this man? Only thing we could do is pray for him. And this guy is basically telling us it's perfectly okay for him to lie in our face. He's saying that it's perfectly fine. Why should we take, I don't understand, why should we take that guy serious? So if anybody in the comics, any Globers, please tell me, hey, why should we take a guy like Will Duffy serious anyway? And why should we believe anything that he say anyway? And why should we believe that he went somewhere when he said that it's perfectly fine for him to lie to me? And why should we believe, and even if that wasn't a problem, why should we believe the people that went with him? All of them liars. Anybody that hangs out with a liar is a liar. So this is why they're getting the flack that they're getting. Period. This is why they're getting all the smoke that they're getting. Will Duffy is demonstrating it right now. Will Duffy cannot basically even be a pastor. Why is we calling him even a pastor anymore? I'm only calling him Will Duffy from now on. Will Duffy the hypocrite. Because he isn't. He is a known hypocrite. But I'm gonna leave y'all with that. And I guess Will Duffy did have his Billy Carson moment, and I hope he got it. I hope he got it like an epiphany, like holy crap. I am being lightweight a hypocrite right now. I'm supposed to be a pastor, but I'm focusing on this flat earth stuff. But Will Duffy is not doing that, because Will Duffy was just yesterday, basically out of nowhere, yesterday was on Flatzoid's channel talking nonsense about the flat earth again. So he's totally not a pastor now. So why should we give this guy any grace? We shouldn't. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. This is Rez Joe. About to get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Y'all can catch me on Discord. Y'all can catch me anywhere. And I'm out of here. Peace.